Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 8 of this AUDL season. I'm Meagles.
And I'm Chucktown.
And we are here live in Toronto to watch the Toronto Rush take on the Philadelphia Phoenix. Before we talk about this game, why don't we go ahead and talk about what's going on in the AUDL this week by starting out with the standings. So in the Eastern Division, we currently have the Toronto Rush, first place, and second place the Philadelphia Phoenix, which is going to make for a very interesting game tonight. The Philadelphia Phoenix are 5-1. The only game that they've lost so far was their first game against the Toronto Rush, which they lost 25-26. Continuing on with the Eastern Division, we have the New York Empire 3-3 in third place. Fourth place, the Rochester Dragons 3-6. The DC Breeze 2-5 in fifth place, and then the New Jersey Hammerheads are currently 1-6. The Midwestern Division is a little tighter. We have the Windy City Wildfire currently in first place, 7-1. Madison Radicals in second place. The Indianapolis Alley Cats in third. Cincinnati Revolution fourth. The Detroit Mechanics in fifth place, and the Minnesota Wind Chill in sixth place. And of course, we were in Madison last week to watch the Radicals, the second place team, take on the Wind Chill sixth place team, and that was an incredibly tight game.
Yeah, it was very well played. The Minnesota team last week in our Spotlight game had gotten a lot of their guys from the University of Minnesota back from the college season. They were unfortunately eliminated early. So it was a really competitive game because the Hodags of Wisconsin were not there on the Madison side, and then Minnesota was stacked with a bunch of new college talents. It was a great game. I think Minnesota's second half might really overshadow their first half.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, if we were to go into the championships, the way standings are right now, we would have in the Eastern Division, the New York Empire and the Rochester Dragons would be playing a game for that second place spot, with the Toronto Rush, of course, being in first. They automatically get to advance. And then in the Midwestern Division, we have the Alley Cats versus the Radicals, sort of contesting to who takes on the Windy City Wildfire, and then the championships would take place August 3rd and 4th. But of course, this is if things continue the way that they are now. So now, today, we should talk about this game, such an exciting game that we have going on. As I mentioned earlier, the Rochester Dragons have lost one game, and that was against the Toronto Rush very early in the season, of course, when they didn't really know who was going to be contenders, when the teams were just learning to play with one another. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how they match up against one another today.
Yeah, it's true. I think in the first game, it was the first road trip for the Toronto Rush. They were tired. I believe they got into their hotel at 6 a.m. the previous night, so they were not quite at full strength. I also think a couple of their top guys, Lindqvist and Adrian Yearwood, have not been here the whole time so far. They're training to compete in Worlds down in Columbia with Team Canada, so it's a big honor, but it's also a big time commitment. And I heard that Mark Lloyd also is on that team. So they've got 3 top Canadian talents on their squad who, as the season wears on, I think are going to be more fully committed to the roster and just be amping up, if for nothing else, for Worlds, and we'll see the results on the field. All 3 of them this weekend are going to be active, so it should be interesting to see Rush at full strength on their home turf taking on the 2 seed in the conference, or in the division rather. I know they want to make a statement here and say we're the top dog for now and forever in the East.
Right. And regardless of how long they've been playing together at the beginning of the season, and of course where we are now, week 7, the thing to point out is that both the Toronto Rush and the Rochester Dragons have some hot players in their rosters. Leading in assists for the Toronto Rush, we have number 9 Harris. He has 30 assists under his belt, and then Lindqvist with 18. McKnight with 17. The other thing to point out is that these are also leaders in the AUDL as well. We have notably Mark Lloyd leading number 4 with number of Ds so far in the AUDL. The Philadelphia Phoenix also have some hot leaders in their roster as well. Leading in assists, Esser with 24 assists. Shortly thereafter, Brandoff with 21, and then Bouchek with 9 assists.
Yeah, and I know the Rush are very aware of Brandoff, number 13 on the Phoenix. He's a guy who's been wheeling and dealing for a long time. He's very good, very skilled with the disc, very good at attacking the downfield space. And they've got a couple young athletic cutters who are kind of on their way up. You may not have heard some of these names, but they're guys that are really good at exploiting the space downfield, getting open, and they've got a couple guys that really know how to deliver the ball. So it should be an interesting matchup.
Absolutely, and in talking with the Toronto Rush beforehand, they said some of the things they were going to do to help mitigate their toughest competitor here, the Philadelphia Phoenix. They had decided that they were going to work on matchups a little bit, kind of work their defense, because as we saw, they have a lot of high scoring or high leaders in the assists category, so they wanted to make sure they had matched up smart defensively so that they could kind of put the kibosh on the ease with which that the Philadelphia Phoenix would score.
It's a good point. You know, one thing that we might want to talk about is the difference between the Eastern Division and the Midwest Division. There are no cross-divisional games, so we don't really have a great way to measure up to say, well, you know, is undefeated in the East the same as 7-1 in the Midwest? We don't know. So what are your thoughts about how Toronto might stack up against the Madison Radicals or the Windy City Wildfire, just from you know, what you've seen them playing so far?
I think they're going to be a bit shocked in the level of competition in the Midwestern Division. As we mentioned earlier, the games contested between the Midwestern teams are extremely tight, extremely hard fought. There's not quite the discrepancy between their first place team and the last place team as there is in the Eastern Division. So from a mental standpoint, that's going to be just a very hard thing to tackle. This is going to be the hardest game that the Toronto Rush have played since their first week in the AUDL, when we were all just learning what was going on, so there wasn't that pressure that there's going to be now as we get into the later weeks. So that, first and foremost, I think is going to be the most shocking element. The other thing to point out is the number of leaders, for example, in the Windy City Wildfire on the stat board in the AUDL League overall is going to be, they're just going to have to match up incredibly intelligently, just because the Madison Radicals, the Windy City Wildfire, they both have such high-performing rosters that they really need to pay attention to who's marking up with who. It's not like they can just let any point go without thinking, without planning.
Yeah, it's a great point. Also, I mean, Philadelphia coming in as the number 2 team in the Eastern Division, they're kind of an unknown entity. Unless you're on the East Coast, you probably haven't heard of a lot of these guys. They've got talent coming from, you know, the former men team Pike. They've got some guys who played on AMP. They've got some guys from some more recent startup kind of teams, but you know, they're guys that are just in their first 5 years of club, so they're on their way up. Every time you see them, they're a little bit better than last time, and it can be hard as a team that's trying to scout and trying to pick intelligent matchups. It can be really hard to scout these guys because nobody knows who they are. Nobody really knows where their ceiling is at. Whereas when you're playing against Link, you kind of know what you're going to get. He's going to be fantastic. You know what he's going to do, and you know what he can't do. Or you know, a guy like Phil Watanabe who's been playing for a long time. Plenty of footage on this guy. You know, really big book on what he can do. And that sort of thing. The Rush are very scoutable. They're very visible. They're one of the top Canadian teams and have been. You know, the GOAT club team, Greater Ontario, or what is it, Greater Ontario Area, something like that. I can't remember what GOAT stands for. But anyway, these guys, you know, they've been playing for a long time, and they've been successful and visible at nationals, at U.S. nationals and Canadian nationals. So they're very easy to just kind of pick apart and say, we know we got to lock these 2 guys down. We know if he gets his backhand huck off, we're in trouble. That sort of thing. And I think Philly, you know, they're kind of a sleeper. You don't know what you're going to get today.
That's an incredibly good point, and one thing to kind of dovetail off of that is it's also harder for teams in the AUDL to understand how teams in the other division are going to work together. Something that you've said multiple times over that can't be stressed enough is how well the Madison Radicals, for example, play together, even though there's no 1 or 2 really big names on that team. However, just a lot of really good overall seasoned ultimate players, and they gel really well together. And that's something that these teams aren't going to be able to see one another very often before the game that really matters comes up, and so they're just not quite sure how to match up against a team that gels really well together. Madison Radicals and the Indianapolis Alley Cats, I think, are the 2 best examples for teams that play well together. A number of the members on the team have played in recreational league, high school, college, club teams, and so there's that chemistry that can't really be defined, but that needs to be taken into consideration.
It's a great point. We're getting ready for player introductions to the national anthem here. Pretty nice crowd on hand. What's the weather forecast for right now, Michaels? Did you get a chance to check?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now it's 78 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius, depending on what side of the border you live on. And then we have a stronger wind going today. It's 14 miles per hour from the southwest, which, if you're looking at the field, is from the back, left, right, gusting up to 20 miles per hour. That's 22 kilometers per hour to 32 kilometers per hour.
Wow, so that's pretty strong. We did get some rain during warm-ups. It was coming down pretty hard. So we'll get to see how these guys respond. And if the weather holds, it looks like the skies are lightening a bit, and we might be fine moving into the evening. I guess knock on wood as far as weather is concerned. So player introductions are going on right now. Pretty good crowd here in Toronto. There always is. They do a great job of promoting their local events. And you can see, if we get a shot of the crowd as we move into the broadcast, you'll see how many folks are here. It's pretty neat support from the Toronto Ultimate fans.
Yeah, and something we mentioned during our last broadcast, how much the Toronto Rush works to develop a community. Even before the game started, they were putting on a clinic. Some of the players who are suiting up today were running the clinic for, I believe they were high school students on the field. So that was pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, it was really cool. Right off to the back right end zone, when we get a look at the field, they just had a bunch of juniors and maybe college players out there teaching skills, teaching throwing and marking. It's just really cool the way they embrace the sport and how they're trying to teach it, develop talent, get people aware of what's going on. And I think the fact that we're playing here right in downtown Toronto in a very visible location, just an outstanding facility, really helps people to say, hey, what's going on today over at the stadium? And people are walking by, looking in through the fences, and the word's getting out that the Toronto Rush are a pretty big deal, and they're right in town.
Right. I know one of the goals of the AUDL is, of course, to promote Ultimate. No better place to do it here in Toronto. So we are going to pause for the national anthem. All right, as both teams prepare for the game, go ahead and take a moment and talk about the other games going on this weekend in the AUDL. Shortly after this game takes place, we will have the New Jersey Hammerhead hosting the DC Breeze. That takes place at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Minnesota Wind Chill will be hosting the Cincinnati Revolution. That's it for the games on Saturday. We will have 4 games tomorrow on Sunday, starting with, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Rochester Dragons hosting the Philadelphia Phoenix, so a bit of a double-header weekend for the Philly Phoenix. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the New York Empire will be hosting the DC Breeze. That game is available online, so if you have interest in watching that game, you can go to the AUDL.com, click on schedule, and then there's an online.
So we're seeing a super slow motion replay of the coin toss, which is one of our favorite things to take a close look at. You can see he used the upward thumb thruster motion and gets in there, weight down, examining the face of the coin to see what the call will be. Professional Ultimate Frisbee referees, ladies and gentlemen.
Looks like it went to the Toronto Rush, I believe.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from here, folks.
Just two more games to talk about real quick. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Madison Radicals host the Cincinnati Revolution. And then 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Indianapolis Alley Cats will be playing against the Windy City Wildfire at the one and only Coon Stadium in Indianapolis.
And did you get a chance to go do a game in Indianapolis, Meagles?
I did indeed.
What's it like there? What's the environment like?
You know, it was... the weather was not at all the nicest that day. There was at some point during the broadcast that we actually had a hard time seeing what was going on at the field. So it was, I'm sure that the fans would have been a little more supportive if the weather had been a little more cooperative. Just like today, the fan stands not packed quite as tightly as it was the home opener. We had a record, AUDL record, 2,300 people here in Toronto to watch that game. So we started out today thinking that we might have a bit of a delay, but back to the Indianapolis Alley Cats game. That was a good stadium. That was the only other stadium that's a grass stadium, a rather historic stadium, and the fans that were willing to brave the elements were certainly very supportive of their Alley Cats.
Yeah, and it does look like the people are filing in here in downtown Toronto. I think earlier, about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, there was some rain coming down.
Right.
Maybe not even that long. So people, I'm sure, were a little tentative to get down here, but I think the walk-up crowd's probably going to be pretty sizable. And already I'm looking at the stands, and they're pretty packed. There's not that many seats left, especially in the middle at the 50-yard line here. So we're taking a look at the final huddles here before we get started. Philadelphia Phoenix looking to pull the upset and make their charge for first place in the Eastern Division. And Toronto, in front of their home crowd, fully loaded with all their talent, looking to make a statement and say, we're the #1 team out of the East, get used to it.
And I do have to say, if there's an opportunity for someone to break the perfect record that the Toronto Rush have so far, this is it. This is I believe, the one and only time that this kind of upset can happen. So we'll see what the Philadelphia Phoenix do for us today.
It's true. I know, talking to some of the folks in the Midwest Division, they think that Toronto Rush's record is a little bit inflated. They haven't really been tested. You know, our last game that we were here, they were playing the New Jersey Hammerheads, who we didn't realize then, but have turned out to be one of the weaker teams in the league. And also, they're just very young. You know, there's a lot of teams out on the Eastern Division that aren't quite as seasoned, don't have a lot of, like, elite club talent. And as a result, Toronto's rolling in here with, you know, these guys are they're more mature athletes. They're in their late 20s. They're really at full speed, plenty of muscle mass, a lot of knowledge of the game, able to break the mark regardless of which way they're forcing. And you know, the younger players, it takes you a little while to get up to speed on all that stuff, and they have looked outmatched against the Toronto Rush.
Yeah, absolutely. Mature, I think, being the important word to point out. We have quite a few years under their belts in terms of playing for high-intensity, high-pressure games.
So Reyna centers the ball. And it looks like straight man defense here. And Lloyd looking away here. Wow, nice catch. And he throws the inside to Lloyd going deep. Wow, what a position play by Lloyd to get on the board. 1-0, Toronto Rush. And here's the replay of this throw right now. So this is kind of a risky throw. Throws the inside lane. Gets just enough on it to get over the defender. And you can see Lloyd is kind of tracking it all the way. He's got his eyes right on the disc. And goes up in time.
And Mark Lloyd showing off right away both his reading ability and his athleticism. Again, he is the #6 goal scorer in the AUDL so far. That he has a lot of momentum going forward, reaches over his own body to grab that disc from his defender.
Yeah, Mark Lloyd's a really, really exciting prospect. He's still only 24 years old. So, I mean, he's playing great. He's 6'3", and he still hasn't even, you know, when you look at him, you can see he's probably going to add some more muscle mass, get faster, bigger, stronger, and be able to really start to just have an elite career here in the Ultimate World.
I think it's also important to point out that he also is number 4 in Ds. He's leading the league, or excuse me, not leading the league, but 4th in the league with 19 Ds under his belt. So he's a very well-rounded athlete, even at his young age.
Yeah, absolutely. Very impressive. So a short pull here, Philadelphia, right in the middle of the field. Swings it. Pretty good pressure downfield. Number 10 gets it. That's Matt Esser. And it looks like Toronto so far has been able to prevent the deep shots. Wow, nice defensive pressure there by Yearwood. Last time we did a showcase game, Yearwood was not here, so we haven't really gotten a chance to see how good this guy is. But he's young, he's up and coming, he's just a fierce athlete. Really, really fun to watch. That's number 81 on the rush. So nice work by Philadelphia. They're very patient. Don't force it. Remember, you only have 7 seconds to move the disc in the AUDL, and they kept it moving, which is really important. It keeps the defense on their toes and prevents that stall 7 from coming into play.
And that was number 13, Mark Brandolph, who threw that score. The coach of the Toronto Rush mentioned he was pretty much the number 1 player that they were going to try and look out for, just because of his ability to get the disc to his teammates in the end zone. Point number 2, showing us why the Toronto Rush fear him.
Yeah, number 13, Dave Brandolph. They call him Brando, like the late Hall of Fame actor, if there is a Hall of Fame. And this guy is very experienced, played on Southpaw, one of the top teams, played for AMP, the old co-ed team. I think they're still around, but I'm not sure. But they were elite, semifinalists a couple times. And he coaches high school ultimate and played point guard his whole life. So the guy really knows how to get the disc moving to where it needs to go. So the Rush looking to respond here. Disc in the middle of the field. Nice pressure downfield so far. And Reyna breaks his defender's ankles there. Nice cut. Lloyd gets it under. And so far, lots of resets. A little overthrown by Lloyd and a turnover. So nice pressure on those resets. He really wasn't giving him much breathing room. And when you try to throw that throw out to space, I mean, you really got to kind of put it right where it needs to be. And I think Lloyd just misread the wind there. Nice pressure downfield. There's the throw. Big layout D!
Wow.
What a play. Full layout. He had very little time to respond, and he goes big and gets his right hand on the disc. That's number 17.
Isaiah Masek-Kelly, who was an incredibly interesting player to watch in the last highlight game, so I'm glad he's feeling up to snuff today. He only had an inch to work with, and he definitely took it.
Yeah, and this guy's on the under-23 Team Canada team, and this guy's so young. He's got so much upside. Here he is getting it underneath. And he throws it. Big flick away to number 19. McKnight is all alone, makes the catch. And wow, look at that. And he's in bounds. What a play.
Let's see that again. I think that was a pretty close throw. McKnight, of course, saw that the Philadelphia Phoenix defender stopped for a split second, giving Cam Harris quite a margin to work with, and still just not quite the shape he wanted on that disc, I believe. So Cam Harris had to toe the line there.
Look at that.
Wow.
Awesome play. Gets his left foot down, drags the right toe, and makes the play. And here's that awesome layout D by Isaiah, the number 1 Isaiah in the league.
That's right.
That's his claim.
That's right.
Here's Thompson easily making the catch. And you can see how they set this up. He fakes the backhand. The defender thinks, okay, he's not going to throw it, and then comes right back to it. Unfortunately, leaves it a little inside out to make that a tough catch, but heck of a play by Cam Harris.
But of course, if there's one thing that the Toronto Rush like to do, it's give their home crowd a good show. So maybe that was intended.
Oh, I see. Maybe that's what they were drilling during the pregame. I was wondering why all the throws were just 2 feet out of bounds.
More layouts for the home crowd.
Okay, so short pull here. Let's see if Philadelphia can answer. 2-1 rush. And there's Brando in the middle of the field with the disc. And it looks like kind of a flat backhand mark, and now they go to the double team. Remember, double teaming is 100% legal. And a nice around break there to number 36. That's Mike Coughlin. Very flat mark here. They're kind of shifting. See, they're giving off the big flick huck. I think that's to the break side, but they're so active on the marks that they're giving up a little bit. Luckily, the defense was up to the challenge on that away shot.
And I think the reason they're putting it on the flat mark would be because the wind is a little bit gusty. So when you have those longer throws, you have a greater chance of the wind shifting slightly, changing, of course, the trajectory of the disc.
So Yearwood's set to tap the disc in here. And misplayed by Phil Watanabe, I believe, and a turnover. Costly error by Yearwood. He just kind of let the wind get underneath that disc. And now Brando looking to break the mark for the goal. Throws a little scooper over the top. Pretty hot scooper, but handled, and they quickly move the disc, and Philadelphia will score to even it up at 2. Nice play by the Philadelphia Phoenix to not turn it over in what looks to be some very gusty wind. Meagles mentioned before the game it's kind of moving from the back left corner towards the front right corner on the big screen. So all these little throws, like this little backhand here, you got to keep it low, and when you move the right edge up, you can see the disc rises very quickly. I think that's what happened to Yearwood. He just kind of put the wrong shape on it. It bounced up, and Watanabe was unable to get up there. See, just at the last second it pops up.
So here we're going to see one of Brando's favorite throws, the scoober. Although typically he says he likes to throw about a 20 to 30 yard scoober. So of course not quite as far as he normally likes to put that.
It looked like he put about 20, 30 yards of pace on that disc. That was coming in very hot. Well played by the receiver. But he's a lot of fun to watch. You can tell Brando when he's got the disc, he's looking to score. He's looking to break the mark. He's looking to just shred the defense. So we'll keep an eye on him. And Reyna centers the disc to number 19, which is Thompson McKnight. He's looking downfield. Stahl's getting high, and he throws out to space. Wow, big bid by number 10, but still caught. Looks like an injury is probably going to happen. Certainly a foul.
That was impressive. He held on to the disc the entire time. That was easy to do.
That's number 10, Matt Esser, with the big bid and the foul out of Millersville. So maintaining possession. Here's Isaiah moving it up the field, back to Esser. And the goal to Lloyd. So nice point by the rush. Little scary moment there. Looked like it might have been an injury. You got, it's really scary when you're making those lateral bids and you undercut the receiver. It's obviously unintentional, but man, it can really cause some problems for knees, ankles, hips, all that stuff. And here we'll see the throw downfield. And just a kind of a dangerous bid. Not a lot to say about it. I'm sure he didn't mean to hurt him, but two players occupying the same space at the same time. You can see throwing down that far sideline, guys are having a hard time setting the disc at the right angle. The wind is kind of gusty. So there were a couple near misses there by the Toronto Rush and what looked like easy throws from up here. So the Rush so far up 1 point on the Phoenix. Philly looks pretty comfortable, though. I don't see them intimidated at all by this Toronto Rush team.
I would have to agree. Every time they get the disc, they look like they're just kind of waiting for their play that they know will develop down the field. So clearly some comfort level here.
So Watanabe marking Brando. He swings it out wide to number 47. That's Sam Morgan. Up the line to Brando. He's in the position to strike. Looked like it might have been a foul, but no call. And he keeps the disc moving to 18, Mike Reeves. And there was an away shot there. Brando holsters it and moves it up the middle. So it looks like the turf's a little slippery with the rain maybe. Some guys are losing their footing here. But lots of open side backhand looks and a big around break out to space. I like the look, but Deed by the Toronto Rush. And you can see he stepped around through that flick out to space, and that's kind of straight into the wind, so you could see it rise and rise and rise and give the Toronto Rush time to recover and make the D.
And one thing I think from watching the Toronto Rush so far is that they have a bunch of very good readers on the team, so oftentimes those jump balls are probably going to go to the Toronto Rush.
And I'm not sure what the call was. Might have been a stall, might have been an offensive foul. Saw the referee tap his head. Let's take a look and see what that call means. But in any event, Philadelphia takes over right on the goal line. Little high release break. Forces backhand here. Big around backhand into traffic. Looks like there might have been a foul, but no call. Oh, maybe there was a call. I think this is a good call. I saw the Philadelphia receiver go up and kind of get hit right in the midsection from a defender who didn't see where the play was. And Brando with a little shoulder shimmy to get open. Nice move by Brando. He's really quick with the lateral movement. Like I've noticed him with the disc. He's able to explode side to side and get around the mark. He's also right there in front of the stack in the end zone. Good night. He gets open easily.
And I know you mentioned it earlier, but I do really think it's very interesting to hear what sports have given Ultimate players some of their skills. And Brando, of course, mentioned that he played point guard his whole life, so he's clearly had a long, illustrious athletic career, one where quick motion and being able to see things develop in a short space is clearly coming to benefit for him.
Yeah, and we got confirmation that was a stall. I think Toronto was looking for a foul on the mark, and it was not called, and the stall count got to 7, and it was a turnover. And here you can see Philadelphia goes up, and obviously unintentional, but the rush didn't quite see where the disc was and ran right into the receiver. So good call, I think, by the refs on that one. And Rana picks it up, centers. And McKnight looking downfield, nothing really doing. Looking for the reset now to Rana. Wow, a lot of pressure on the reset. Could have been a foul called. And gets it around to Isaiah. Nice throw downfield to number 91. That's Cam Harris. So quick moving here. Mark Lloyd with the disc. A lot of pressure on these marks and resets. You can see just very hard to get the behind the disc reset here. I think Philadelphia's probably intentionally making it hard for them to go backfield, making them go upfield. Nice catch there by number 9.
Steve Armitage.
And he lays it up for Reyna, who misplays it. I think he heard the pitter-patter of footsteps. And just kind of boinked the catch. Nice pressure by Philly because they were beat.
There's that play again.
Yeah, you can see he goes up, clearly gets first contact. Maybe the wind moved that disc. Nice layout catch by 27. That's Chen Zhou with the disc. And they're looking to get it off the sideline here. Call.
There was a contact call from the ref down the field.
Okay.
But it happened after the throw, so the disc is going back.
Okay, so unlike club, these are active calls made by the refs.
And it looked like it was contact on the thrower.
Or it might have been on a cutter, but definitely on Philadelphia.
Good point.
So it might have been a push-off downfield. I'm not sure who the foul was on, but in any event, negative 10 yards for the offense. And they're keeping it. Toronto's doing a good job of keeping it on the sidelines. Something happens downfield, no call, however. Looks like it might have been a near pick or a foul, something like that Toronto was looking for. And the stall gets to 7, and they have to throw it away. Nice pressure by the rush. They kept him really cornered on this end zone and just really front-loaded the open side. Nice D. And away shot to Lloyd is there. Nice adjustment by the mark to step around and prevent the backhand. And then a quick turnover. So careless mistake. That was Kevin Horgan who just misplayed the catch. Immediate away look. No throw, however. So both teams a little tentative on these aways. I think the wind is really whipping up. I'm looking at some of the players on the sideline. And you can see, like, when a catch is missed like that, that's not a skill. That's not a problem with catching technique. That's a problem with the wind moving the disc.
Well, and also with it being gusty, it's not like you can still plan on the disc following a certain trajectory.
That's a good point. A timeout used by the rush. I think they're going to try to regroup and just kind of get a little more crisp with the disc.
You know, one thing I want to point out earlier when the disc was thrown, because the stall count was getting high, it's important to note that there's no vocal stall count. The referees are calling it. Sometimes the players are able to hear it, sometimes they're not. So you have to keep that internal clock going in your own head, because if the stall count gets high, you don't have an option downfield. The best thing you can do is huck it as far as you can so that the opposing team has to work it all the way back down the field. So if you're complacent about keeping track of the stall count, or you can't hear the referee, if you were to have to place the disc right where you were standing, that's obviously an advantage to the opposing team.
That's right. I know the referees are using their arm, their off arm. They're doing little downward thrust motions. So out of the corner of your eye, sometimes these guys are keeping an eye on that. Kind of like in the NBA when you're inbounding the ball, the ref will just move his arm. So it's something that needs to be practiced. It's very different. I mean, when you're playing club, the guy's standing right in front of you counting it. So you know exactly where you're at. And, of course, as many club players will do, they'll just call fast count as they get higher in the count. But in the AUDL, we're men, and we don't do that. So it can be tricky to make the adjustment. 7 seconds and no talking.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to interact with us during the game, please hit us up on Twitter. My Twitter feed is Meagles000.
And I'm at Chucktown Disc. Nice cut downfield by number 20. It's Lindquist. Link is really one of the premier talents on this team. So look for him to be very active, especially downfield. Yearwood with the disc. He's got Link looking away. Nice help off the backside by Philadelphia. They're very aware of Link and how hard he is to guard. Once again, he's open by 10 yards going deep, but the throw just doesn't sync up with the cut. And Yearwood with the disc underneath keeps it moving around. Nice step around break to Link with the disc now. He's got height over the mark here. Yearwood goes up line, throws through the mark, and the continue pass to Lloyd. So there's your three kind of marquee players. Link breaks the mark to Yearwood, who continues to Lloyd. 1, 2, 3. Not bad for the rush.
Check out this backhand break. That is risky in wind like this, but certainly came off perfectly for him.
Yeah, that's not how they teach you to throw the backhand around. If you're a kid watching at home,
do not try this at home.
Do as I say, not as I do, says Lindquist. Here's Lloyd wide open. Man, Lloyd he's just got a way of being open. I think one thing I've noticed about watching him cut is he's always watching the disc, so he syncs up his cuts with the movement of the disc better than most. And he just tends to always be moving in the right direction at the right time.
Yeah, which is harder than it sounds, but clearly his stats are showing that he's very good at it. Rush 4, Phoenix 3, with 2 minutes, 57 seconds left in this first quarter.
That is one thing that a lot of the elite cutters do. You know, we talk about triangulating on defense. In other words, seeing the cutter and seeing the thrower at the same time. On offense, you can do the same thing. Kind of keep an eye on the disc, keep an eye on your defender. Notice when your defender's weight is shifting and take advantage. Lloyd's very good at that. So quick movement from Philly. Up the middle to 18. It's Mike Reeves. Reeves has been very active, although his cleats don't seem to be working very well. He's constantly slipping. So moving down the far sideline here, resetting to Brando. And there's Reeves one more time on the under. So Yearwood seems to be giving him the under. Upline cut from Brando, looks at the backhand around, not what he was looking for though. Watanabe on the mark. And the inside break, high risk throw, especially with that wind, it's almost impossible to get that to go up and then come back down over the defenders. And Yearwood easily D's it. Oh, miscue downfield there. So Mike Jones had an opening going away, but he hit the brakes and came under right as the throw went up from Kubanek. So an unfortunate miscue there for the rush and an injury for Philadelphia.
So Anthony Bouchek coming in for Samuel Esser there.
So Brando with the disc. Throws that little backhand break around. And here's the upline cut. Nice hands there by Brando. And Brando, wow, just so active, so powerful. You can see he really uses his legs and gets the big deep shot off. And well played. Nice stabbing catch by Matt Esser. Really took advantage of his position and goes up and just reaches beyond the outreach arms of the Toronto Rush defender. Nice play.
Matt Esser is 4th in the league for assists right now. So the Philadelphia Phoenix have 2 of the leaders for assists, which is clearly why they're 2nd in the league right now. Interesting point about Matt Esser, he also has had 16 Ds, which puts him in 6th for Ds, as well as 14 goals caught. That, I believe, makes 15.
Yeah, this guy's a big-time player. Number 10 on the Philadelphia Phoenix. Keep an eye on him. Matt Esser, he's 25. He's only 5'11". Played his college ball at Millersville. And there's a team called Heva Havas, which a lot of these guys play for. And one way or another, they're churning out a lot of good talent. These guys can really play. So a big backhand, keeps it nice and flat, lets the wind do a lot of the work. And Reyna centering to McKnight. And Lloyd gets open deep, winds and delivers the backhand. Lloyd is all alone. Let's see if he's got the wheels. He does. And looking for the dish for the goal. Nice defensive adjustment by Philly. Wow, and a big jumping goal. Nice play by the Rush to get exactly what they're looking for. Lloyd rocks his defender under and then releases deep. And then nice and patient on the end zone. You can see if he throws this, it may well be a turnover. Philadelphia is tracking it closely. And they do the old Statue of Liberty, throw it up and let your guy jump in. Look at this.
It's Cam Harris with the catch there. But the credit should go to Thomas McKnight for that big backhand huck to Mark Lloyd there. Even though Mark was going at full tilt, he didn't have to do anything crazy to catch that disc. Thomas McKnight, even in this wind, was able to put it exactly where Mark Lloyd needed to catch it.
Yeah, it was a beautiful throw.
Well, not quite exactly. I suppose Mark would have preferred to have caught that in the end zone.
You might be right about that. You might be right. But it is a tricky throw because the wind's kicking towards the screen, so it's going to drop down kind of quick when you throw that outside in. But he threads the needle there. Nice throw. He also set the mark up well. I could see he was kind of rocking his right side back like he was going to throw the flick, and then he drives all the way through and throws the back. And I don't think the mark had any clue where the threat was on that play. So nice big airy pull here. This is going to fade all the way back into the end zone. Plenty of hang time. That's probably the best pull we've seen today. Brando swings it around to the forehand side. And a quick throw and go. Philadelphia is off to the races. There's, I believe that's Reeves on the sideline. He throws to the end zone. I'm sorry, no, this is Reeves in the end zone. And he puts the defender on his back and just easily goes up and handles that throw. Nice play. They clearly like to throw to Reeves away, and you can see why. He made that very easy.
I believe that was number 10, Matt Esser, who caught the disc.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize to Esser and Reeves, I suppose.
That is Matt Esser's second goal caught in a row. So.
Nice play.
Yeah,
so Esser, I mean, like we said, he's 5'11", but you can see he really plays position well. He's very powerful. He's able to extend up, and he's really got big shoulders and a big lower body base as well. So he's pretty hard to get around when he gets positioned. I mean, you see this throw up and you see his stature and you think, wow, we got a pretty good shot at this. But, you know, just right in the right place, goes up. If the defender's going to make a play, it looks like it's probably going to be a foul. And that's how you play. That's how you can play big going deep, even if you're not a tall guy. So a nice big pull from Philadelphia. Looks like these guys are figuring the wind out. These pulls are outstanding. This one's floating all the way back into the end zone. And remember, the end zone is not the blue. It's where the pylons are. So if you get a little confused about when they're in the end zone, there's a couple pylons that mark the front of the end zone. And I think those pylons are on the 15-yard line if you're looking at the football field.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the orange pylons, or the orange cones, of course, demarcating the AUDL field, since the Canadian football field is a little bit wider than the American football field.
There's a turnover by Mark Lloyd again. That wind kicking up from the far side of the field just popped that throw up. Nice catch by Philadelphia. Stall gets high, but they move it. And then a big backhand rip. This may not be in bounds. A little too aggressive on that throw.
Yeah, that throw, not only this wind is going to be tough, but of course released a little bit high like that, it is just going to keep on floating. Thankfully, that high jump pole helped stop the disc a little bit sooner.
It sure did, yeah. That would be a pretty soft landing if you were going to lay out the back of the end zone. You may as well do it right there. Oh, and a big point block on that backhand hook. Looked like he might have gotten some hand. But no call from the refs, at least not that I can see. And that was the end of the half, so he was just trying to uncork one to the end zone. Looks like he paid for it with that point block. Looks like he might be all right, though. So that's the end of the first period, 5-5. Pretty well defended first quarter. I think both teams were kind of aware of who the big throwers were, who the best cutters were, and were playing pretty good position, pressuring the resets, especially by Philadelphia. I thought that was a great move.
Absolutely.
So far, yeah, pretty close game.
Yeah, both teams coming out really strong. It's not clear who was going to win at this point, given that both teams have been playing extremely well. You know, the Toronto Rush, I think, have a history of coming out strong, unlike some other teams in the AUDL. I think the Madison Radicals, the Windy City Wildfire, both tend to come out pretty flat in the first quarter, sometimes first half. But Toronto Rush tends to be strong. It looks like the Philadelphia Phoenix coming out strong as well. So I have a feeling this is going to be pretty interesting game right until the last second.
Absolutely, and I expect to see more pressure on the resets from Philadelphia. I think also, you know, the Rush are starting to see that that Esser's getting open deep and that he wants to go deep. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them just start to back Esser, push him under, make him prove that he's good with the disc, that he's not going to, he's going to be able to break the mark, get the dump off, stuff like that. Because obviously he's very good going away. That's number 10 on Philadelphia, Matt Esser. So quick break here at the end of the first quarter. And Philly's got to be happy with this result. I mean, I think, on paper, Toronto Rush, certainly more experience, maybe, a little more high-level, more recognizable kind of guys, more club experience. So to be at 5-5, they got to be pretty thrilled.
Yeah, absolutely. But one other point to make about the Philadelphia Phoenix, like a lot of the other teams, there is a large number of players who have had experience playing with each other, like I said, in high school, college, and the club level.
So here's a look at some of the highlights in the first quarter. Here's that first away shot to Mark Lloyd. Well played. That's a tough play. I was not a lot to work with on the throw, but he gets position and maintains it. Big layout D by Isaiah. And then he throws the big away to Thompson McKnight, I believe this is.
Yeah.
And toeing the line for the goal here. Textbook. Gets the left toe inside the line and drags the right toe. Perfect. And here's that little scuba over the top. And then bing, bing for the goal. There's that big bid. And that was Esser as well. So Esser very active. I'd have to say he and Brando were the two standout guys for Philly this quarter. And obviously Mark Lloyd had a big first quarter. There he's catching a goal for the Toronto Rush. And here's this nice D in the air by number 4 on Toronto. That's Kayla McKenzie. Gets up huge for the block. So we're getting ready to start the second quarter here, coming back to live action. And Toronto looking to break to go up 1 here. I think they got their hands full with this Philadelphia Phoenix team. And just so we don't get confused, the team's from Philadelphia, and the name of the team is Phoenix.
Absolutely no connection whatsoever.
Oh, wow. Almost a drop pull. So nice concentration there. So here we can see Esser gets the disc under. I think maybe they're making that adjustment, pushing him under. That's number 4 on the Toronto Rush, Kayla McKenzie. They'd much rather he get the disc underneath than be striking deep. And you can see right away that he's not maybe as comfortable throwing the around passes, maintaining possession of the disc. He'd much rather be striking deep and catching goals, so it pays off. Nice strategic adjustment by the Rush. So Gord Harrison, 6'2", 26-year-old, swings it around here. That's Yearwood losing his footing and regaining it. Swinging it around to the forehand side. Back to Phil Watanabe. Wow, nice side-to-side movement here by the Rush. And a beautiful fake sets up the dish pass for the goal. Nice play by the Rush. They're very patient. And, a lot of young players, as you get closer to the end zone, you have less vertical space to work with. So sometimes a great strategy is to really start exploiting the lateral space. And especially in the AUDL, you've got a 53.5-yard wide field, which is 13.5 yards wider than in the club series, which is only 40 yards. So really going side to side as the field starts to shorten when you get into the red zone is a great way to find wide open opportunities the way the Rush just did. Here we see the turnover. That's Jeff Powell getting up and getting the D, and watch this fake by number 4. Gets the defender all the way into the air, and then Kayla McKenzie with the easy over-the-top backhand to Andy Kubinek. Nice play. So 6-5 Rush, they're looking to pull and add another break. And Mark Lloyd winds and delivers. The wind catches this one a little bit, pops it up. So a short pull, nice field position for Philadelphia to work with. And that's number 36. Nice no-dump mark there, forcing a very difficult reset. And you can see he barely has anything to look at. And a big layout D by Mark Lloyd. That worked perfectly, Meagles. Nice defense by the Toronto Rush. You see they just came behind the mark, prevented the backwards 45-degree reset cut, and get the turnover. Yearwood up line. Oh, wow. Yearwood kind of a lazy throw into the wind. Wow, and nearly caught looks like a couple times by the rush, but just couldn't quite get the hand around it. So a lucky break by Philly here on a careless throw from Yearwood. Brando with the disc. Not a lot to look at downfield. Wow, nice throw out to space. Esser's all alone. Incredible break. Nice throw. And Esser, for some reason, doesn't throw the backhand, and he pays the price as a huge layout D.
That was Cam Harris with a layout D.
Wow, what an awesome read. And in this wind, to be able to reach out and stab that with one hand, just incredible. Great concentration by Cam Harris. Here's Lloyd with the disc. Wow, steps inside, throws that back, or that forehand to the end zone, and it just turns over a little bit. Yearwood unable to close on it. That is a really difficult throw, amigos, to step inside, try to keep that inside-out banked, left to right shape on the disc with the wind kicking to your left as a thrower. That's very, very difficult, and he was not able to keep it flat.
Yeah, but unfortunately, sometimes altogether too tempting.
Yeah, we've all thrown that one, I think. I definitely don't have that throw, so I tend to just throw a blade at someone's head in that case. Yearwood, nice flat mark, forcing a reset back into the end zone. So these resets are very tough, and here's a full-on double team. Foul on the mark. That's going to be a 10-yard penalty, I believe. Or maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Might have been a timeout. So it looks like they're going to huddle up. Timeout by Philadelphia. They didn't see what they were hoping to see. I think that might be a good call because their resets are not looking good. They're kind of stuck on this near sideline with the wind pushing this way. And, the only way they were able to advance the disc last time was on a really heroic inside flick break.
Yeah, which is statistically only going to work so far.
Yeah.
Is that the layout by Cam Harris? That was phenomenal.
That was incredible.
I think Sean Anderson was just as surprised as we were. Sean Anderson, the intended receiver of that throw, whose nickname is Gazelle.
Gazelle. Interesting. Very majestic. Very light and bouncy. I don't know what I'm saying. So Philadelphia huddling up. Let's see what kind of adjustments they make, because right now, they're trying to keep it trapped on the sideline. Here's that great layout D by Lloyd. That was probably a stall 6 throw, if I remember correctly. And here's the floaty pass from Yearwood. Nice kind of team defense. It looked like 50 had a chance to make the catch, both in the air and on the layup, but was not able to squeeze it. Unfortunate for him. Here's this throw that opened up the field. I mean, basically, they're taking away every other look. So unless this inside-out huck is available, there's just not a lot not a lot to look at for Philadelphia. And here, if he throws the backhand, he probably completes it. But the mark does just enough to bother the backhand and force this throw, which is read beautifully. That's got to be the play of the game from Cam Harris so far. So the disc is in. They move it right down the line. Another layout D by Lloyd. And it looks like Lloyd is pretty much happy to have these guys make checkmark cuts against him. He is baiting that and just blowing through them for the layout Ds. Wow, and Yearwood, beautiful touch pass. Unfortunately, the wind kicks just at the last moment. Not a lot you can do about that. That was a perfect throw, it looked like. So Philadelphia catches a break. Unfortunately, they are still trapped right on the cone, right on this sideline. So let's see what they can do to move the disc around to the far side of the field and open up some deep space. This is a nice-looking deep cut from Esser. Brando does not throw it, however. And here they are, just stuck on the sideline. Forced to throw a scuba into the wind to reset it, and then just a costly error. Didn't get his weight down, tried to throw a kind of a shoulder-high backhand into the wind. That's not going to work. Link with the disc. Little throw and go from number 50. Yearwood looking to break. Ends up throwing open side backhand, and there's another receiver open. And that looks like a goal. So Kayla McKenzie with the goal for Toronto. And it looks like this defensive strategy of the rush of pulling it and keeping the disc kind of on the near sideline is working really well. I thought for sure Brando was going to just boost one to Esser on the first. Well, here's this great layout D by Lloyd. On the next possession, when Philly got it back, Brando had the disc on the near side, and he had Esser going deep. I don't know why he didn't throw it. Esser's your main receiver, Brando's your main thrower, and you're struggling to move the disc, but for some reason he does not throw it.
I agree with you, and I think that's so important just to change up the opposing team's defense. So clearly the Toronto Rush has the number for the Philadelphia Phoenix. Not only is that shortening their game, it's also kind of challenging them mentally. So they need to open up the field a little bit more and then work on their fundamentals. They're turning over the disc on kind of silly mistakes because they feel like, as you said, they have to throw heroic throws to get open.
Yeah, I mean, what you said is perfect. If they don't throw the deep shot, then the defense doesn't have to respect the deep shot. And, man, if you're trapped on a sideline and you can front load all your defense to play underneath, good luck moving the disc. Wow, lots of pressure there. Almost a chance for a first pass D. Number 74 storming down on defense. That's Ricky Shetto. And a stall. So sometimes that's what happens when the defense comes down hard. Makes the offense nervous, and they hold the disc a little too long, get a turn. Wow, big bid by Philadelphia, but to no avail. That's another goal for Toronto. So they are starting to roll here in the second corner.
So we're going to see that play again. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to connect with us this game, please feel free to tweet us. I'm Meagles000.
And Chucktown Disc is my Twitter handle. You can also just use the hashtag AUDL. We will be checking that throughout the game to see if any questions come in or any corrections on player names, anything at all. If there's anything you'd like us to cover, just let us know. So it's a real muggy day. It looked like this morning, it looked like it might storm today. So far, we've been lucky enough to get the game in without any problem.
Yes, Chuck, but the clouds remain ominous.
Absolutely. So Toronto set to pull here. They're leading by 3, starting to pull away a little bit. I think Philly, now would be a good time for Philly to punch back. Let's see what they got.
Yeah, we are halfway through this second quarter, and the Philadelphia Phoenix have yet to score.
Another throw. I think that's the same exact player, number 25. Didn't learn his lesson and didn't get his feet set. Just threw kind of a shoulder-high backhand to that into the wind. That's 2 consecutive turnovers on the same throw from the same player. He's probably going to get an earful from his coach right now. And here we see the throw to the end zone. Yeah, so Rush is just looking a little more experienced, a little more dialed in. And the home crowd is definitely amping these guys up. Here you see the throw. So he's moving his weight forward, which is good, but he kind of doesn't have that right foot down. He's stepping through and just kind of flicking his wrist. And in the wind, you really don't get as much control on your throw. So if he were actually to step out, get his right heel down, and drive the disc through using his lower body, that throw's complete probably 9 out of 10 times. All right, so the Rush getting ready to pull here. 7:33 left in the second quarter. And they are comfortably in the lead, 9-5. Philadelphia has not scored in the second quarter yet.
No, absolutely not. And I've never seen the Toronto Rush play anything but cool, calm, and collected. So it's very important that the Philadelphia Phoenix tighten up right now, only because the Toronto Rush is going to keep pushing. And if there's too big of a lead, then we're going to find out very quickly in this quarter who's going to win this game.
And Brando gets the disc. Esser gets open deep, and he does not throw it again. So I'm not sure what he's waiting for. But I would trust, just from what I've seen, I'd say throw to Esser away and see what happens. So Brando with the disc underneath. He's looking for the inside break there. Nice mark by number 50. Moves it upfield to Esser. And contact called. So one of those little bumps that if you're playing, open club would almost never get called. Then the AUDL, the refs are making active foul calls, some 10-yard penalties. Pretty nice feature of the league. So up line to Brando. He's got something to look at here. Swings it around. Esser is hauling to the end zone here. And a big, nice touch around flick there. Great throw from Brando. Gets it around the defender. And that's up into the wind, but he's just got the right angle on it. Gets enough snap on it that the wind doesn't bother it here. So I think number 20 just kind of leaves his man. Maybe he's expecting the switch here. Lindqvist there released as his man. And that is a difficult throw. But Brando really has got that forehand calibrated.
And that was number 5, Dave Hampson. He is 22 years old, very young, 6'2", and currently has caught 16 goals so far this year.
Wow, 16 goals, only 22 years old.
That would make 17. Right there.
All right, so they pull back within 3. Here's the pull. Let's see if Philadelphia can get some pressure on these Toronto Rush offensive players. So flat mark here. Nice cut downfield by number 91. That's Cam Harrison. He releases a deep shot, trying to play the wind, but just kind of a tricky angle on that disc. The wind didn't help him out maybe the way he wanted it to. So turnover, and Philadelphia's got a chance to pull within 2. Danzig on the mark. Wow, quick inside break up line there for the reset. And keeping the disc moving all the way down to the near side. Nice step in backhand break there. And a shot to the end zone. Nice touch on this. Wow, nice bid. Just a little too much. It's pretty tough to float those when they're going down this near sideline because the wind is driving the disc downward. Looked like about as good as a throw as you can make without just airing it out. So Reyna, more than happy to accept the donation. We'll bring it in here. And it looks like Philadelphia mostly is fronting downfield. And overthrown on the reset from Reyna. And Philadelphia has got to look at the end zone here. Let's see if they can punch it in. The double team is in effect. A lot of pressure on the mark and steps through, throws the backhand. Nice play there by Philadelphia with a lot of pressure on the disc. So 7-9. This looks like it almost was a foul, but nice composure there by number 27. That's Chen Zhou with the disc. So careless throw on that flick around against some pretty good pressure. All right, so Phoenix responds. They've put a couple on the board here, 7-9. If they get 3 in a row, I think Toronto will start sweating, and the crowd is getting fired up
for some free T-shirts.
Yeah, free T-shirts, free discs. What else have we seen so far? They're definitely into promoting and giving out free swag here at Varsity Stadium in downtown Toronto. All right, so kind of the all-star line getting ready to reset from Rush. Yearwood, Lloyd, and Link on the field. So here comes the pull. And Yearwood easily open on the backhand side. Lloyd wide open downfield. Wow. Cool throw around from Lloyd. That is not easy, but he makes it look easy. Link with the disc, looking to break. The mark holds, and just a little bit of a careless disc pass. We've seen so many turnovers on these little flicky backhand throws up into the wind. Yearwood had one, Link just had one, 2 of them by Philadelphia. So guys are obviously misreading the wind going in that direction. Yeah,
you can't take any throw for granted in wind like this. Everything has to be very concentrated with a lot of spin on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So foul called here, immediate 10-yard penalty. So double team on the thrower. And Philadelphia moves to the center of the field. And there's that throw around. Played pretty well by Lloyd, but it gets over and the trash is picked up by Philadelphia. Wow. Nice D. That was read well. And that was Link. He saw that setting up. He could see that the break side was not opening up the way the thrower wanted, and he needed to throw the big swing pass, and Link read it all the way. Yearwood sets his feet and delivers a bomb. It's got nice air on it and a big layout. Oh, number 44 not able to squeeze it. That is Andy Kubinick. Andy Kubinick obviously wishes he could have that one back.
That was incredibly close, and if you noticed, Yearwood really put a lot of thought into his throw. So obviously Yearwood paying great attention to the wind here, being very thoughtful with his movements.
Yeah, that was a nice touch pass in this wind. Whoa, big layout to save the possession here from Esser. Esser's having a game right now. But here we see again, I'm sorry, that's not Esser, this is Esser. Those guys look like brothers. Link tries to catch it as it's going overhead, can't do it. And it looks like Philly's got to look at the end zone. It's a little low, and it's not going to sit up long enough for the receiver to make the play. So kind of a fast break offense nearly gets them a goal.
But those are the kind of plays that Philadelphia Phoenix are going to need to put into motion to keep the field stretched. As we noticed at the beginning of this quarter, the Toronto Rush had really tightened up with a couple of layout Ds. They were in the heads of the Phoenix players. So stretching out the field like that is going to open up more opportunities for them downfield with the in cuts as well as those away throws. So obviously didn't go off quite as they had planned, but it's very important at this point that they make plays like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even if so, timeout called on the field. Even if the completion doesn't happen, the fact that you're throwing to the deep threat as a defender makes you realize that if you leave your guy open, that they're going to throw it. And obviously, no one likes to get beat deep, especially somebody who considers themselves to be an elite downfield defender. And it's the worst thing in the world to see your guy catch a disc deep when you were supposed to be shutting him down. So it's funny how, even though that might be the percentage play as a defense, a lot of guys are just kind of they just don't want to get beat deep, and they'll make the adjustment and give you some free unders.
So the Phoenix tightening up that gap a little bit, 9-7 with 2 minutes 45 seconds left in this half.
And getting set to tap the disc in here. Looks like a vertical stack here. And let's see what Toronto has downfield. So a quick kind of a golden looking play. Front of the stack cuts deep, back of the stack cuts in. And just a careless backhand over the mark is Deed. Nice mark. And open side backhand for the goal, and Philadelphia is pulled within one. Philadelphia has absolutely rallied back, and I think in this situation, Toronto is used to just pulling away, but Philadelphia is not going to go quietly. You can see them come back. Nice bid here by Isaiah. What an athletic downfield receiver.
That was Brenton Dietrich with the catch there. He's 24 years old, has played for a couple of club teams and has experience starting club teams. So he's clearly someone who cares enough about this sport to kind of put it out there in the community, gather people up to get a team started.
Yeah, Chen is having a great game. Chenzo there reaches up with his right hand and blocks, point blocks. A high release backhand that is so difficult to do. It's kind of out of your line of sight, and you just kind of have to put a hand on it if you can. He does that and then throws the open side, step around backhand, no problem in the win for Chenzo today. He's playing great. So Phoenix has a chance to tie here. They throw a big bladey backhand pull, which is going to roll for a few yards. And centering pass to Yearwood. Nice D downfield by Philly. And Yearwood resets to number 50, Ryan Kiefitz. Yearwood back to the middle of the field here. So nice patient offense from the Rush. They're keeping it moving. They're throwing to open receivers, taking the resets when they're available. So far, nothing too scary to look at. And Yearwood gets it over to the backhand side here. Cam Harris looking great downfield so far today. Just setting up his cut, taking the unders. And he moves the disc over to the backhand side to number 4. It's Kalen McKenzie. Nice step inside flick there up into the wind. Ooh. Yearwood's able to squeeze that one, and he looks around to the backhand side. Full layout. Oh! Tough break. And Yearwood has had a couple costly backhand turnovers in the red zone. So those are the ones you never want to give up. You want to play possession frisbee whenever possible in the red zone. And Yearwood just had a couple mental errors there. So Chen with the disc is double teamed, and it is a stall. I don't think he knew where the count was. So costly error. And look at that. Sets it up with the big forehand stance, cocks that disc back to his right, and then steps all the way around the mark for the easy backhand break. Chen overcommits. You can see he leans too far to the open side here. So when the disc swings back to the to the backhand side. He's just out of position to pressure it. And even with the nice bid there, an easy goal for the Toronto Rush. They pull ahead 10-8.
Yeah, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, how important it is to try and keep track of where the stall count is. As you said, an extremely costly error to have the disc turnover on the opposing team's end zone.
Absolutely. And you can see there, that's one of the things that, younger players that are learning the game, you want to keep an eye on the pivot foot. I think Chen basically started leaning over, following the disc, following his thrower's torso. And when the thrower came all the way back around, if you're not marking the pivot foot, if you're not in the right position based on that left foot for a right-handed thrower, you wind up in a heap of trouble when he comes around to his backhand. It's wide open for him. So a nice big pull by Toronto here. Plenty of airtime. And Phil Watanabe, full speed all the way down to get the first mark on here. Esser going up line. Link trying to stop the flow, and he causes enough trouble that Esser comes around and floats another deep ball. Reeves in the area. A couple big defenders there by the Rush. I think Reeves wanted a foul. He's looking at the ref saying, hey, what do I need to do here? But no call. Phil Watanabe catches a very difficult throw up the middle. And Mike Jones and he are going to play catch a little bit. Around to Lloyd on the open side. And Link is open deep. This is a nice matchup. Esser reads the disc, but look, it's going to tail out to the right side of the field here. It wasn't quite flat enough. If he gets a little more outside in, a little more of that right to left slant on the disc, that's going to just kind of hang in the back corner of the end zone. But unfortunately, it stayed inside out and floated. So hammer over the top to Brando. He's got a deep shot, and he's going to throw it. I don't think he got it off. So that'll be the end of the first half. So kind of a back-and-forth affair here in the first half. But Philadelphia brings it back to within 2. It's 10-8 at the half. Toronto Rush in the lead. So playing to seed so far, Mabel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was worried there for a second at the beginning of the second half that it was going to be a runaway game with the Toronto Rush. But thankfully, the Philadelphia Phoenix made a couple of important adjustments to be able to contend with the Toronto Rush. So it may be 10-8, but we've seen that the Philadelphia Phoenix can go on runs when they need to. So we'll see what they have in store for us for the second half.
Absolutely. And a couple standout players. Chen Zhou really played well. He had that one mental error at the end of this second quarter here, but he was putting great pressure on the marks, generating a lot of turns, doing the right thing with the disc most of the half, and he was really fun to watch. A lot of great energy when he's coming down the field. Yeah.
Other standout players, of course, you heard us mention his name time and time again. Brando and Esser are just the runaway players with the offense. They do a lot to open up opportunities down the field. So when they take time and throw tighter, crisper throws, it really stretches the field. It really gives the Philadelphia Phoenix a little more breathing room to work with.
Yeah, I think it'll be on Esser basically to prove that he can take care of the disc when he's given the unders. I think what happened after the first quarter, after he caught a couple goals and was really causing trouble downfield, the Rush said, all right, well, if you can do it downfield, prove that you can do it behind the disc. And he threw 2 kind of low percentage flicks that got away from him up into the wind. So, I'm sure the coaching staff will be telling him, hey, you got to settle down and just take 100% resets. Because if he doesn't do that, he's never going to get another open deep look, which is where he wants to be, obviously.
Yeah. But extremely noteworthy, the Toronto Rush defense. We have seen several layout Ds from Mark Lloyd. That was Isaiah Kelly with or was it Cam Harris with it? Cam Harris with the big layout D. So they are doing everything they can to contest easy and difficult throws that the Philadelphia Phoenix are putting up. So it's very fascinating to watch.
Totally, and Phil Watanabe is one of the guys that maybe doesn't do a lot of flashy stuff, but he's one of the Rush kind of leaders. He's been playing Club Ultimate for a long time. He's in his 40s, still very athletic and very competent on the field, but just kind of a very calm presence. And when he's out there, you can see the whole team sort of settles down. He's never in a panic. He's always just taking what's given to him. And after the last game we saw here in Toronto, he was the last guy to leave the field. He was staying, talking to fans, making some new friends, just talking to some of the younger players who are trying to learn the game. And I was talking to the coach and GM of the New Jersey Hammerheads, and he came over and personally thanked them for making the trip out last time, which obviously he doesn't have to do. But Phil, he's an ambassador to the game. He's a class act, and he's just one of those guys you want on your side when you're playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to take a moment now and show some replays from the first half. And I'm going to go out, try and talk with some people in the stands, see what their reactions are to this game so far in the first half. So we'll cut to replays, and we'll get back to you shortly.
All right, so here Here are some of the highlights in the first half. This is the opening goal to Mark Lloyd. Uses his body, uses his position. Pretty well played by Philadelphia. Mark is one of the top talents, and here's that great layout D. And here we'll see one more time. This is how you do it, guys. Left foot down, toe the line with that right foot. That easily could have been a turnover. And here's Brando with one of his favorite throws, the scuba over the top, and the quick dish around. So a very physical bid downfield by Philadelphia. Catch is still made, and no injury, thankfully. We don't want to see any of these guys get injured, especially not in the hometown of Toronto. Mark Lloyd really, I mean, this guy, he's constantly catching goals. He's constantly in the right place at the right time. He's always looking at the disc when he's cutting. He's always timing his cuts, and he's just, you know, quietly catching goal after goal after goal. And, you know, maybe as a fan you want to see more big layout catches or more skying the pack kind of goals. But, geez, when you set up your cuts the way Mark does, it almost just seems matter of fact. I mean, he must have more clap catch goals than anybody in the league. He's so open. He's so like in sync with his throwers. Just a pleasure to watch. Nice catch there by number 9. Number 9, it's Steve Armitage. Armitage was not playing the last time we were in town, so if you bought the Rivals package, first time you're seeing him play. Nice play there. So there's Chen, who had a great first half, laying out for the catch-up line. And there's Esser doing what he likes to do, going deep, putting guys on his back, and just roofing guys. Awesome play. So the weather has held off so far, and the crowd is really starting to fill out here. There's a lot of walk-up crowd, a lot of walking traffic here. Nice layout there, pressured from Reyna. And here at the end of the first quarter, you could see the Toronto Rush player was holding his hand after that. He might have caught maybe his fingertip on the follow-through. That looked like it could have been very painful. On those big backhands that get point blocks, sometimes you wind up with broken hands or fingers, so thankfully he was okay. Here's Brando moving it around the mark. And here I believe is one of the turnovers from Esser. See, he's kind of just off balance when he releases that. Doesn't have his feet set. He's already thinking about the downfield cut, and in the wind, that's just not going to work. So I think Toronto is probably going to keep forcing him to come under and get the disc. Nice bid there by Esser. And until he takes care of the disc better, I expect him to be backed all during the second half. Here's one of Mark Lloyd's underneath layout Ds. Just an awesome play. He's reading those so well. And here's that awesome inside flick out to the break side, all the way downfield. I mean, that really was all he had to look at. If he doesn't throw that, he's got a no-dump mark, nobody open underneath on the open side, and nothing really doing. But unfortunately, still, the play of the half, I would say, Cam Harris with that spot layout D, and he caught it. Not only did he caught it, and here's that second. Full extension, layout D from Lloyd underneath. I mean, this guy's something else, and Lloyd's only going to get better. He's a young buck still. He's still in his early 20s. He's going to be playing Worlds, I believe, with Team Canada down in Colombia. He's one of the top D and goal leaders in the AUDL. And just look for this guy to steadily get better over probably the next 4 seasons at least. So just so you know, Meagles is down in the crowd looking for some interviews. We're going to try to get you an idea of what kind of fans come out here to AUDL games. You know, who they're rooting for, who their favorite players are. Just kind of get a sense of what the environment is at one of these AUDL home games. A lot of these folks are huge fans, and you don't realize how many Ultimate fans there are until you start a pro league and start hosting some of these events in these cities. You know, lots of high school and middle school players are coming out, and a lot of people just really enjoy watching the game. It used to be that only folks in college even knew what Ultimate was. You ask somebody who you know, was a little later in life about Ultimate Frisbee, they look at you like you're crazy. And now you've got just so much exposure. You know, they're on SportsCenter Top 10. It seems like at least once a week there's a Frisbee play on SportsCenter these days. And it's just, you know, people are aware. People are coming out to the games. People are starting to, you know, have fantasy teams on. I believe the site is Unbenchable. And it's really getting exciting. Here's Yearwood with that nice flick away. So he set his feet. He didn't let his weight come too far forward. And so he's able to put some touch on it. Looks like that could have been, maybe should have been a catch by number 44. I'm sure Yearwood's going to give him a ribbing in the locker room at halftime if he hasn't already. And there you see an awesome catch by Matt Esser. He's so good in the air. You don't realize how big he plays until you see some of these 50-50s go up, and he just seems to always come down with those. And there you see Chen with that just amazing, very difficult play to D, a high release backhand. Very difficult to track that correctly and get your hand on it. He does just that and then throws the goal. Here's Yearwood. Yearwood looked about as calm as anyone out there. Slightly overthrown on that backhand. But Yearwood, one thing I will say, just having watched him and knowing how young he is still, like, he's just one of those really calm guys. He's never in a panic. He's playing, you know, he's definitely playing at full speed and playing hard, but you never see the panic. And that's so helpful when you're on the field to see that one of your best players has got that level head and that intensity. That's huge. So here we see Linkvist there, I believe, stopped him from throwing the backhand down the line and forced him to step around and throw the flick. And as you can see, this is another one of those turnovers.
And we're here in the stands to talk to the youngest and most adorable Toronto Rush player. Her name is Mayal. We're also lucky enough to be here with her parents, who are...
I'm John.
I'm Grace.
And you two said that you've played Ultimate before, is that correct?
In the past, just on the 1 or 2 teams, yeah.
Okay. And this is your first time watching professional Ultimate, is that correct?
It is. Yeah, it's awesome.
What have you thought of the game so far?
Pretty exciting. I wish they had the score up on the board, but other than that, the game's awesome. I mean, these guys are laying out, just burying themselves for the disc, yeah.
And what do you think is going to happen in the second half?
I think Toronto's going to win because I heard they're really good. Someone said they were undefeated so far, and they've looked really amazing. I've been really impressed with how almost each play it seems like someone's scoring, so it's really cool.
Absolutely. Do you know anyone on the Toronto Rush team?
We're here to cheer for 2 guys. Steve Armitage is from Peterborough, and he ran for Guelph University, so we got a couple connections. That's where he's from, his hometown. And Mike Jones, his girlfriend, goes to school with me, so we're really excited to have some people that are local and from home.
That's great that you're out here supporting the team. So having had the experience so far this first half, will you be returning to watch another Toronto Rush game?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for talking to me, and thank you for being the youngest fan. Do you have plans to play Ultimate in your future?
Ultimate?
I'll take that as a yes.
What did you do now?
I was told the real fans were up here at the top of the stand, so I made my way up to talk to.
Feel the rush!
And your name, sir?
Joe Armitage.
Oh, I know who you're here to see.
Real fans.
And is this your first game, or have you come to see all of the home games?
We've been to all the home games.
Okay. And before he played for the Toronto Rush, did you go see your son play elsewhere?
Yes, we did. He plays in Peterborough, and we've been to a couple of games there.
Yep. And what are your thoughts about the Toronto season so far and just watching him play professional Ultimate?
What can you say? It's been great. Absolutely fantastic. It's a great sport, and I just wish they could get more publicity out there somehow, because people would really enjoy the game, I think, if they had a chance to see it. You know, they just don't get enough coverage.
Well, I have to say that the Toronto Rush do a great job of promoting this sport in younger group, so I have a feeling that that'll be changing in the near future thanks to your son and his teammates.
I think you're right. When you look at the crowd here, it's awesome. It really is. It's fantastic. On a day like today to get this many people out, super.
So what have you thought about this this game, the first half? This is probably the closest game you've seen the Toronto Rush play, is that correct?
It definitely is the closest game we've seen, except for the ones we've watched live streamed. This is definitely the closest game. Pretty exciting, lots of fun.
I think I know how this answer is going to come about, but what do you think is going to happen in the second half?
Oh, we're going to dominate. There's no question, we're going to dominate.
And how's your son going to play?
He's going to play great. He's going to run from one end to the other faster than anybody else. And he's going to have a great game. I just know it.
All right, you have heard the real prediction of the second half. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I appreciate it. And we're back, and I'm here with
Samuel,
Luke, and Calvin.
And these are the future of Ultimate. You boys say you play Ultimate, is that correct?
Yeah, at school.
At school, and what school do you go to?
Go to Equinox.
Ah, Equinox, okay. And what grade are you all in?
We're all in grade 4 and 5.
I'm in 5.
4. All right, and do you guys know any of the Toronto Rush players?
I know that Harris guy, wherever he is.
Excellent. And is this your first time seeing a professional Ultimate game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and are you guys learning anything so far?
Yeah.
What have you learned?
Well,
that psyching works.
Yeah.
If you psych Philadelphia, it definitely works.
And how to like throw the hammer thing. Yeah.
Cool. So do you guys plan to come back to more Toronto Rush games?
Yeah.
Definitely. I'll try.
Awesome. Well, good luck with your guys' season, and keep playing, okay?
All right, and we are getting ready to get back into action here. Nice little halftime break. We got to meet some of the fans, including, as Meagles said, the future of Ultimate. I hope she's right, but you never know. So we're going to try to do some slow-mo replay of the halftime activities here at Varsity Stadium, just so you can see some of the techniques that you can use. You can see he brings his weight forward, drives his lower body through the pylon, knocks it right over. And this guy not even wearing athletic footwear. You can see he's just wearing something that's comfortable, something that's kind of fits the shape of his foot, and driving his lower body through. Outstanding technique from blue shirt guy. And I wish we could get a little slower and a little closer so we could maybe see some of the facial expressions, you know, see what kind of emotional turmoil this guy's going through as he tries to do the seemingly impossible and knock over 5 big fluffy purple things. You know, not sure what this game is called. Knock pylons over with ball might be the name of the game. Anyway, back to live action here. So Toronto Rush taking the field. Got a chance to talk to the coaches of the Toronto Rush, Hasty and Phillips, before the game. And these guys were pretty excited, to have the Rivals package back here in Toronto. I know the fans love it. There's a lot of folks that are not here today that are at home watching the Toronto Rush, maybe one of the more followed teams here in the AUDL. And also, they wanted to really make a point to beat up on Philadelphia here. So far, Philadelphia has been mostly up to the challenge. They're down 2 after the first half, and I think before the game, if you had said, you know, would you take a 10-8 first half score, they'd probably say absolutely. They want to be close as it gets towards the end of the game, and they feel like when the game's on the line, they're going to pull through. Whereas the Rush, like I believe Meagles mentioned the first half, the Rush tend to come out hot. They're really a talented group. I was watching them warm up, and you could see their intensity level was clearly higher than what I saw from Philadelphia. And they tend to come out pretty crisp, and, you know, especially guys like Mark Lloyd. They're great guys. You know, if you come out to one of the live games, watch these guys warm up. Watch Mark Lloyd and the way he warms up. He brings a lot of energy, a lot of deliberate effort in everything he's doing during the warm up, and it shows. He comes out hot and usually scores, you know, 2 or 3 of the first 5 goals. So here's the pull. Reyna centering once again to McKnight. And the big backhand hook, perfectly thrown. And a quick dish to number 9. That's Steve Armitage with the first goal of the second half. And Toronto made that look easy, welcoming Meagles back to the box. How you doing, Meagles?
Thank you very much. You know, I think it's very appropriate that Stephen Armitage scored that goal. I just got the opportunity to talk to his father, who I asked for his second quarter predictions, and he said, my son is going to run up and down the field faster than anyone else. And I would have to say that Stephen Armitage's dad is clearly a soothsayer.
Wow, yeah, Mr. Armitage, clairvoyant to say the least. And this guy, like we said, he was not on the roster, the active roster the last time we were in Toronto. We didn't get a chance to see him, but he's an explosive player, plays with a lot of fire and a lot of passion. The fans here love him.
Actually, he was on the roster last time, and you would recall he caught the disc with his hat off, saying the only thing better than Stephen Armitage catching the disc with his hat on is Stephen Armitage catching the disc with his hat off.
Wow, hat off versus hat on. Apparently that's how I remember people, with hats. My apologies, Mr. and Mrs. Armitage. All right, so Toronto comes out and punches him in the mouth right off the bat. Floaty pull here. Let's see if Philadelphia's got the answer. They got their starting O-line here. Cam Harris explodes deep, drives his defender out, rocks him under, and now the big wine and delivery here. So let's see. Esser with the disc and throws that little flick around. Nice throw. He's had, I think in the first half, he threw a couple turnovers with that same throw, but this half, you know, kind of really holds the shape, drives the disc, and completes the pass around the mark. Nice play. Looks like the rain is picking up here again. I see a lot of umbrellas just opening up in the crowd. So we may be in for a wet second half, which could, you know, I mean, playing in the rain is a lot different than playing with a dry disc. We'll see how each team responds.
Absolutely, and I think it's important to note that if there's lightning in this game, there will be the game will be called, and the score currently will stand. So let's hope the weather holds so that we can finish this game out, because it is pretty close, and I'm sure the Philadelphia Phoenix would like to finish this opportunity. And of course, again, as always, you can talk to us on Twitter, Meagles000, Chucktown Disc, and Ryan Forster corrected me earlier. I called Chen Zhou when I was referring to Kevin Chang, so my apologies there.
And Reyna catches and centers the disc. Rob Lloyd gets open under. You can see a nice cut set up by Isaiah Masakeli. He brings it under though, and there's a deep shot available, not taken. And here's Isaiah underneath. Steps around the mark and throws it up the line here. And a shot to the end zone. Nice position and an easy goal for number 91, Cam Harris. He's having a really nice game so far, Migos.
That much can certainly be said. He's been all over the field, both Dean and scoring, and just playing smart defense, even if he's not laying out.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like the rush coming out pretty crisp, pretty calm. I'm not seeing a lot of very closely contested catches. Most of these are wide open, and they're setting up their cuts, throwing it out to space. Nice shape on the throws, and so far so good for the Toronto Rush. Actually, for both O-lines.
Yeah.
Both teams are scoring. So let's see which defense can come out and put some pressure on one of these O-lines. So far, it's been all offense in the second half. So we saw Brando on that last offensive point for Philadelphia take the deep shot. Got Esser with space going deep, and it was easily caught. I would say look for them to do that again, because basically what happened was you could see Esser started to set up his cut downfield last point, took away the under, and he released deep, easy one. So let's see what the adjustment is for the rush. Looks like they're playing kind of a junk. They got Watanabe playing center of the field. Now he's going to tighten up. And a shot to the end zone. I'm not sure the defender even sees it. What a throw down the line. Philadelphia quickly scores a goal. Let's see if we can find out who threw that. That was a very nice throw. No float on that at all. The defender never had a chance to even see it in the air. Nice play.
Yeah, excellently put disc, as we've mentioned earlier. With the wind being as unpredictable as it is, you need to put a lot of rotation on the disc so that you can control precisely where it goes. And since it was thrown against that far sideline, clearly the thrower had to make sure that it was accurately put. Afraid I still can't see who that was.
Yeah, I wasn't able to see it on that one. Yeah, really brought his momentum forward and drove the disc down the line. If you lean back or don't bring your weight all the way forward on that throw, it'll tend to pop up. It'll tend to be a lot more easy to play for the defense, and it does not do that. And still doesn't travel as well. That's not an easy task. So a nice deep pull. Great pressure by Chen on the first pass, so they have to go to option number 2 over to 33 on the sideline. That's Dan Danzig. And look at this defensive pressure. Very difficult resets. Isaiah winds and delivers a big backhand to Mark Lloyd, who's got space deep. And he sees it and is easily going to catch it. Looking for the quick backhand for the goal. Oh! And slightly misplayed there by Steve Armitage with the hat. And the break to Chen. Chen's double teamed right away. And throws a nifty blade. Pretty tough throw from Chen. I think he was looking for a double team. I'm not sure. He looked over at the sideline like maybe it was a broken play, or maybe he was looking at the ref. I'm not sure. So Reyna gets it around to Danzig. Danzig around the mark, out to the flat there to number 91. That's Cam Harris. And he looks for the backhand away. This is just wide open. I'm not sure what's going on D. That's an open side cut that is undefended.
And Stephen Armitage gets a second chance to make his father proud.
Right, so just a mental lapse here. I can't see the player's number here, but Philadelphia, the big redhead, it looks like, just out of position on his guy, and then on the subsequent throw, he's also just not taking away the angle. Looks like number 32 there. So Will Haney just falls asleep on D, and it's a goal. And here, I'm not sure what he was looking at. I didn't see any cut to that space. I think the stall was probably at 6, and he just had to throw it there. So Chen frustrated with what options he was getting downfield against that double team. And here's the backhand around. Now, it looks like the force is backhand, and this is a wide open backhand cut. And you can see the second option is also open. So defensive lap there by the Phoenix, the Firebirds. And a big backhand pull. Rush looking to break and go up 4. Let's see what happens here. Philadelphia needs a goal. They need an easy goal here. So centers to Brando. And great D downfield. Not a lot to look at. Linkvist gives up the under here to number 5. It's Dave Hampson. And I think Hampson had, oh, wow, big deep shot. And number 4 reads it perfectly. Great play by Kayla McKenzie. They were trying to score another down the line. And an inside flick, huck to space. Wow, what a catch. He goes up huge, and he's not in. Wow, and another high-risk throw out to space. Great read and great play by number 4, Kayla McKenzie. Holy smokes, look at this catch. Put his feet on his head on that catch. Unbelievable. And if you're Philadelphia, you got to be pretty excited to have them throw deep against Matt Esser. Matt Esser looked like he had a good read on it, went up right when he wanted, but just could not handle the athleticism of the Toronto Rush on that play. Incredible catch.
Yeah, especially because the throws we've seen in that direction have all been floaty, which means you're going to have defense hot on you in that regard. But you're right, that was an incredible catch. Yeah,
so double happiness here from Kayla McKenzie, I believe. Gets the D. Let's take a look at this catch. You can see it looks like he's out of position here. Looks like number 21 has misplayed it, but then just goes up, leans back, and makes the full extension catch.
And that was Jeff Powell with the catch.
Jeff Powell, hats off, buddy. Nice catch. Back to live action here. So centering the disc to Brando. He's got Esser underneath. Chooses to throw over to Dave Hampson. Hampson resets to Brando. Nice D downfield so far. He's got a step deep, winds and delivers. Wow. Nice D there. And there's definitely some contact. That's pretty dangerous. Hampson comes underneath and undercuts the defender. And it's going to be a foul, 10 yards. You got a real nice look at this. You can see number 5 doesn't quite know where the defender is, goes up and accidentally just drills the defender. Yearwood winds and delivers a backhand, playing the matchup here. Nice D by Philadelphia. He gives up a few inches in height, but he's reading it all the way. And remember, the wind, when you throw those outside-in backhands with the wind kicking right to left on our screen, the wind's pushing the disc down. So you don't want to back up, you don't want to lean away, you kind of want to go to it right away, and that's exactly what the defender does, and he gets the D. Wow, costly first pass turnover there.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness, and the Rush looking for a foul. Cam Harris leaned through and threw a backhand, and I think he's got a pretty good case to be made. I think he was bumped on his throw by a defender who was running through the area. So another high-pressure reset. Great D here by the Rush. They want the disc back, you can tell. Brando's got it. Throws the little break around and back to Brando. He's in power position. No throw, however, keeps it moving to the middle. Back to Brando, once again in power position. And so far, Brando being very cautious, very careful with the disc, not forcing anything. Gets it down the line there. Nice little 1-2. Esser with the disc, resets to Brando. So Brando very chilly with the disc, very confident. The rain, the wind doesn't seem to bother him too much. And a hammer over the top. Nice shape on this throw, and that's going to be... Oh, it's dropped. Oh, my goodness. I believe that is Reeves.
Mark Reeves, indeed, with the unfortunate drop there.
Just slipped between his hands. That's the worst feeling in the world if you're an Ultimate player. That was a great throw over the top. And against a very difficult wind, that hammer was perfect. So double team on the mark. He's ran on the pylon, and I believe we're going to have a timeout called by the Rush. So a lot of action here to start the second half. We're 6:52 left in the third quarter. Rush pulls ahead 14-10. And I think if the Philadelphia Phoenix don't keep this close by the end of the third quarter, it may be lights out, because the Rush are, they're not perfect in the fourth quarter, but they're certainly hard to make up a lot of ground on, especially once the time dynamic starts to get a little tighter. So we'll see if Philadelphia can keep this close. They got 6 minutes, 50 seconds left in the third quarter to kind of fight back, keep it within 3 or 4 goals, and see if they can keep their position so that they can attack and try to win it at the end.
Absolutely, and the key is going to be overcoming the high pressure put on by the Toronto defense. We've just seen they're putting double teams on the key offensive players, which have been Matt Esser and David Brandolph, which doesn't seem to impact the the ability of these two gentlemen to throw. They are very call, even when they have two tall defenders in their face, but it does cut down their options downfield, which slows or stymies the progress of the Philadelphia Phoenix offense.
Yeah, I think a lot of times these double teams, the idea is, you know, they're starting with the disc right on their pylon, and they need to somehow complete a pass. Otherwise, it's a turnover right on the goal line and a freebie for Philadelphia. So even though they're giving up an open receiver rather, you know, it's going to be a tough shot over the top, maybe a scoober, you know, something that they're trying to throw around and the wind takes it. Any of those percentages are good because if it's a turnover, like we said, it's almost a guaranteed goal. So here, they get the reset, they swing it to Yearwood in the middle of the field, and they're off to the races because, of course, when you're double teaming, somebody's wide open. In this case, it was Link. And he keeps the flow of the disc upfield to Yearwood, who misplays the layout. He's a little late to go down and get that one. And Philadelphia will get the disc. And Linkvis kind of playing center field. There's a lot of space downfield, but Link is so athletic and so crafty that it becomes hard to just throw out to space when he's in the vicinity. So number 11 with the disc, looks downfield, open receiver for the goal. So 11 finds what he's looking for. That's Jonathan Palumbo. He's 23 years old, out of Arcadia. He throws the goal here. And it looked like the Rush never quite got set on defense. They were just seemed to be open look after open look, and you can see right here, nobody really picked up the receiver. And that is number 17, Anthony Bouchek. So nice advantageous play by Philadelphia. They get what they're looking for here, which is a goal to bring it back within 3.
An interesting note about Anthony Bouchek, he has played for the Korean Ultimate Nationals team. Wow. So clearly done a little bit of traveling in his life.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of these guys have, or a lot of the Rush players, I should say, rather, have kind of world experience. You know, and like we said, 3 of these guys are going to be on Team Canada. So it's pretty interesting to get this worldly feel to the AUDL. An immediate deep look. And slow and steady, patient offense here for the Rush. They're not forcing anything. Step around backhand out to space to number 19, McKnight. And he throws out to space, got a receiver. Big bid from Philadelphia, but a little out of position to get the D. Nice play by Mike Reeves to get some pressure on the catch at least. And looks like contact is called on the defense. Tough call.
Because that puts the Toronto Rush into the middle of the field. So when it's within 10 yards of the end zone, they get to take it right at the top of the end zone in the middle of the field.
Wow, okay. And he immediately throws the backhand around, break out to space. And if you're the mark, that is a no-no. Can't give that one up.
And that was number 121, Jeff Powell, who is coming alive this second half with a few great reads, a few great plays, and puts his first score in the game.
Yeah,
right
Jeff
there.
Powell with the catch of the game at the beginning of the second half. Just an incredible skying catch. And right here, he seems to be doing all the right things. He's having a nice third period. So 15-11, Toronto Rush, 5.5 minutes left here in the third. Hashtag AUDL if there's any questions you have for us or anything you'd like, any background or things you'd like to hear about these two teams. And the weather, so far we're getting pretty lucky. It's very gray here. It seems to be kind of patchy rain in the area. So far we've been mostly dry. We had moments of rain at the beginning of the third quarter, but right now pretty nice early summer kind of weather. Everybody is slipping, though. I am noticing a lot of guys are losing their footing and just kind of doesn't seem like the cuts are all that sharp right now, which is surprising. You'd think just standard cleats on turf field wouldn't be a big deal with the rain, but it seems like it is.
Yeah, it seems like just that little bit of moisture that's fallen so far is impacting the play slightly.
Oh, wow, what a catch by Philadelphia.
And it is in.
Keeps his feet in and extends out, makes a very low catch right at the shoestrings, and just an incredible catch by number 8. Brando moves it around, getting it off the sideline, which is very important for these guys to keep the flow away from this sideline. In the first half, they got stuck on the near sideline a lot. And you can tell he's looking at the end zone. Not there. Brando trying to give him the reset. Phil Watanabe with pressure. And Brando wrong-footedly throws that backhand break. Pretty nifty breaks from Brando so far. And a foul on the mark. So 10-yard penalty. Philadelphia advancing downfield quickly. And the disc is back in right away. And Esser looking away. He's got space.
Oh,
and
that
what
was
a catch.
incredible.
Lays out over his right shoulder, and it is gymnastics time for Matt Esser. This guy is an all-around athlete with the chest bump. This guy's fired up.
I gotta say, Matt Esser has been impressing me quite a bit this game. He is playing with so much enthusiasm and tenacity. That has to be contagious on his team. And you know, he founded one of the men's teams, the Hiva Havas, which a lot of Phoenix players play for. So clearly he's extremely passionate if he's one of the captains and co-founders of a team that he helped lead to regionals in his area. That was
just a pretty catch.
Yeah.
Not sure what Yearwood was doing. He looked a little lackadaisical on that play. Just let his man start streaking deep on the turnover. And look at this amazing celebration by Esser. This guy's a lot of fun to watch. So the Phoenix will not go away. McKnight with the disc, steps around. He's got that nice step around flick out to space. He's been using that quite a bit. Lloyd has got a receiver deep, winds and delivers, and oh my goodness, the offense made that look easy. That's number 21, Jeff Powell, once again doing the right thing at the right time and catching a goal. You can see he rocks the defender under and then releases deep, and right within the rhythm of the throw, Lloyd fakes the forehand, steps inside, and look at the shape on this throw, Meagle. It's just a beautiful throw.
Yeah, that throw was perfectly put, and Jeff Powell made himself a very easy receiver on that one, both with the timing and placement of his cut.
Yeah, you could see he lowers his right shoulder a little bit just to kind of set the defender up, and then as he releases deep, all of a sudden he's open by 10 yards. That is a great way to set up a deep cut for those of you learning the game.
16-12 with 4 minutes left in this corner. The Phoenix are doing a very good job of maintaining that margin of 4 points. But it'll be interesting to see if they can keep it from stretching any further.
Yeah, they're kind of right where they want to be. They want to stay in the game, keep it close, keep the pressure on, keep the energy high. And they think if they're close at the end of the game, they're going to pull it out. They feel like they've got what it takes to beat the Toronto Rush. Let's see what they got. Watanabe out down on the pool. Brando feeling the pressure, steps around, nice throw to number 5. Who rocks the mark. Hampson resets to Brando. It's been pretty much Brando every other on these O points. And you can see why. He's always doing the right thing. He's got these, all these different shapes, release points, and throws. And you can see he's just exploiting that break side. Anytime he gets an open look to the break side, he's exploiting it. So a really savvy player for being really still a pretty young guy.
Wow, great put.
Incredible throw from Brando. That was all Brando all day. Steps around, breaks it out to the backhand side, gets the disc out to the far side of the field, and then just throws this perfect high percentage blade, over a host of defenders. Look at this. I mean, there's just it's almost like a no-risk blade over the stack, if there is such a thing.
And Stephen Armitage, the defender there's really not much you can do. He was well positioned, but that throw, like you said, was a break all the way across the field, and blades you always hope are lower percentage as a defender, of course, but Stephen Armitage had the correct position, just not against that throw.
Yeah, stayed between his man and the disc. And you're right, as a defender, you're kind of baiting that throw. You're hoping he throws that. But don't tell Brando that. He'll take it all day. So getting set to pull, Philadelphia pulls back within 3, keeping the pressure on here, never letting Toronto kind of settle in. Never letting them pull away. And nice floaty pull, no one there to catch it, so the defense will be set and ready to go as Toronto gets ready to check it in here. And nice bookend D on the near side by by Philadelphia. Lloyd's open deep, and the throw is there. Pressure by the D, and Lloyd loses his footing. And that was not as a result of the defense, just lost his footing for some reason. I think the disc turned left on him a little bit, and he wasn't ready for it. So that may be the first time we've seen Lloyd open deep when it wasn't a goal.
Yeah, I think that probably is the first.
Chen picks the disc up. And not a lot going on downfield. I feel like the Philadelphia cutters are just not active enough downfield, at least not at the beginning of these dead disc turnovers. Wow. Tough downfield catches from Philadelphia. So far, they've made every one. And a huck to the end zone. Great throw. Somehow the mark was out of position, and a backhand out to space. Not sure who that was to. That was some kind of error. I feel like he maybe was off balance or maybe a miscue from the cutter. Not sure what he was looking at.
I'm not sure who the intended receiver was on that throw.
So quick double team on Reyna, and he's looking to reset and does. Danzig swings it around out to the flat, and a big layout D caught, however, by number 17, Isaiah, and unfortunately they overplayed underneath, and Lloyd, wow, Lloyd just wins the sprint to the end zone. Incredible.
Let's watch that again. Mark Lloyd is nothing if he is not fast. His defender was ahead of him trying to block Mark Lloyd from going, striking up the line, but just didn't quite have the legs to keep up.
Yeah, Palumbo, I think, was thinking he was all alone, or maybe he was in position, but Mark Lloyd just wins the race. Gets the easy goal. So a near D there. I mean, that's a 2-point swing essentially. Nearly a catch D down this end, and then an easy goal at the other end. Nice play by the rush. So hashtag AUDL with any questions or comments. Looks like the rusher, they look pretty confident they're not pulling away, but so far they're maintaining their lead. And we'll see who starts to emerge as the clear favorite. We're within 2 minutes of the end of the third quarter now. And the pull from Toronto is going to be out of bounds. And a not a puller cheer starting in the crowd. I'm sure that's probably one of the Rush friends of the puller. Heckling, very much encouraging, ultimate. And it looks like a cup. Looks like Toronto's coming out in a zone. They got a 3-man cup here. Looks like kind of a basic 3-3-1 as best I can tell. Let's see how they handle it. So far, Brando looks pretty comfortable. And not sure what that call was, but 10 yards for Philadelphia. So they move it around the cup to the far side of the field. Nice movement here from Philadelphia. And a nice play downfield from Esser. He gets it right back.
Wow.
And that's going to be a goal. So Philadelphia handles that zone well. There's a little bit of pressure right at the beginning, but once they moved it around the cup to the far side of the field, pretty easy going for Philadelphia.
Sugar's, I have to say, I'm rather impressed with the way the Phoenix handled that zone there, given how they matched up against some of the double teaming early. It seems like the little bit of pressure kind of undid their offense, but throw on that third defender and it opens up enough receivers downfield that, as you said, once you get it around the cup, it's just kind of smooth sailing.
Right, you can see once they get to the far side of the field, there's really no problem to just get the disc all the way into the end zone. Looked like Link might have been able to put a bit on that, but it might have been an injury, because you know Esser was coming pretty strong for that disc. So 3-point game here. And a big pull. Let's see if this one stays in bounds. The wind is kicking out, and it looks like just like in the last point, he lands it in the sand trap out of bounds. So Toronto will center the disc. Looks like they're running a split stack, 2 on each sideline. And I imagine Lloyd will probably be the first look. No, they're actually cutting from the handler position. And it looked like that throw was there. Isaiah with a nice deep cut. You get it to Lloyd underneath. And Cam Harris wide open under. He throws a backhand away to Jeff. Oh, a nice position there from Jeff Powell. He's really playing well in the third quarter. I think that's his second or third goal, Meagles, and he's just really establishing himself here in the second half.
Absolutely. I would have to say I would have put that too. Jeff Powell has been incredibly reliable in the last 12 minutes of play.
You can see Bouchette gets kind of rocked under to his left there, and by the time he makes the adjustment, he's out of position. And Jeff Powell, what's new? Catching goals. This is a nice throw. Remember, the wind is kicking that way, so he has to step around the mark and release it so that he can't get a hand on it. The defender can't get a hand on it without popping it up. And he really did a good job of keeping it flat, driving it all the way to the to the end zone without losing the shape. That is not easy to do. So the Toronto has to rush to get this pull off. No pun intended, I swear.
That was clever.
Oh, wow. Looked like Philly might have touched the disc there. But no call. Brando gets it.
I think it hit the ground first.
Yeah, certainly hope so. And back to the zone. Whoa!
Wow.
Great layout for Brando to save possession. And he throws the hammer over the top. This is what you're giving up in this kind of a zone. And the D by number 44. And looks like a strip was called, so it's going to be, or maybe a foul. Probably a foul because he got 10 yards, correct? Not sure how that works.
Wow.
Oh! And the disc don't lie. That means that must have been a legit catch, right? If I remember correctly how that works. So the backhand around. And looking at the hammer, Brando puts the brakes on and gets open on that dump cut. Wow. His change of direction is something else. And he throws that little backhand around break. And look at Link baiting that down the line backhand all the way, closes and just gets his hand on the disc. Linkvist is really an outstanding player. And, I got a chance to talk to Dutchie, who has been the coach and a player on Revolver for many years. And he said, when I showed him the roster, he said the two guys I would look out for, Link and Yearwood. And you can see why these guys are really, they just really stand out. They're very skilled. They're very confident. They're making the right plays. And Linkvist there saw that coming all the way.
One lesson I think the Toronto Rush is teaching us is that effort is always rewarded. They are catching discs that you think are just beyond their grasp. Dean discs you assume is already in the hands of the Phoenix. And we're going to watch some recaps from this third quarter to hammer home the lessons the Toronto Rush are teaching young Ultimate players everywhere.
That's right. You can see the crowd getting pretty fired up. I'm not sure I don't believe we have a count on how many folks are here, what the ticket sales are, but here's our third quarter recap. First of all, the true future of the Ultimate. So here's that big backhand huck. First 3 points were all offense, real easy. There's Armitage catching the goal. And look at this backhand, just rips it. And the nice break there. High release flick break into the wind. Hey, whatever works. And here's a shot down the line, plays the wind perfectly. It's Cam Harris catching the goal. Here's that throw down the line. Look at how much pace he gets on that. I mean, if you're the defender for the Rush there, you got to think you're in the right spot, but it turns out you're not, because he threw a bullet for the goal. And here's Armitage misplaying it, and then I believe he gets immediate redemption when Chen turns this disc over. The throw out to space to Cam Harris, who looks to the end zone here, and I believe we're going to see Armitage go down and get this one. Let's see, right here, I believe. Armitage with some shoelace problems falls down on that. Wow, look at this huck. Looked like there might have been a foul on that huck. There was a catch D from Kalen McKenzie. It looked like the mark might have bumped the throw right when he was releasing. And here's the catch of the half. Look at that. Jeff Powell just goes up and terrorizes people in the air. All right, so back to live action. We're getting ready to start the fourth quarter. If you're the Philadelphia Phoenix, goal accomplished. They wanted to keep it close. They're within 4, and now they need to kind of put the pedal to the metal here, make up some ground, and get into a slugfest in the fourth quarter. They think they've got the kind of heart and the kind of fight that can pull the upset here and give the Toronto Rush their first loss to the season. Of course, Toronto, I'm sure, is very confident moving into this fourth quarter that in front of their home crowd they're going to hold seed here.
Yeah, Phoenix definitely has the fight, but the Toronto Rush do an excellent job of capitalizing on defensive opportunities. So the Philadelphia Phoenix will have to take away just the few errors that are costing them the 4-point gap between them and the Rush.
Right, so Blady backhand pull. This is going to roll a few yards here. The wind is kicking right now. And immediate huck to the end zone here. And it just kind of doesn't sit up the way that Esser was, I'm assuming, thinking that it might. That one kind of, the bottom drops down, and it's going to be a turnover. So here come the Rush, looking to go 80 yards for the goal. And Yearwood makes the cut-up line. Jeff Powell slips on the underneath, catches it. And Phil Watanabe with the disc. Steps through the mark to number 74. That's Ricky Seto. And back to Yearwood. And he hucks it big outside in. Phil Watanabe's got a beat on it. Let's see if he can read it.
Wow!
Oh! A very difficult trailing edge catch, and he stands up calm, cool, and collected and throws a little dish pass for the goal. So Phil Watanabe, ladies and gentlemen, he's an oldie but goodie. He's still making crazy athletic plays. That is coming in really fast, right over his head, and he's able to just go up and make the catch.
And get up and make an easy toss to his teammate there. Oftentimes when you catch a disc like that, your adrenaline is surging just a little bit, and you might not put as easy of a spin on it as you like. But Kayla McKenzie coming in for the finish there.
So Yearwood, 24 years old, throws to Phil Watanabe, 41. Normally you'd see that in the other direction. But that's one of the reasons it worked, I'm sure. Nobody's expecting Phil to be your deep threat. But not because he can't do it, just because, hey, you know, the scouting report on old men is they're a little lazy. They'd probably rather catch a dump pass than a deep shot. You know how it is for all you old folks out there. So the Toronto Rush come out, pull ahead by 5 behind their savvy veteran leader, Phil Watanabe. So here we go. The wind's kicking, and look at this. Brando's taking a page out of Phil's book, and he's going deep. The two handlers are the deep cutters. Brando.
Nice read by Brando.
Brando, very nice. And Brando's looking to do the same thing. Quick dish. Wow, nifty throw from Brando. Steps out to the forehand side and throws the lefty backhand out to space. This is not easy. Remember, the wind is knocking this thing down. So to try to throw a wrong-footed touch pass when you're off balance, leaning to your right, not an easy task. Let's see how he does it. Wow. Well done, sir.
Yeah. Throw to Dave Hampson, who's just racking up more goals for his stat book.
Right. Look at that. Nearly deep. Great bid by Jeff Powell. Almost expected him to get that. He's been winning all the high disc. And Brando leans. Does the little eye fake there on number 53. I think Kevin Horgan of the Rush was probably looking to see where Brando was looking. And Brando looks to his right, through to his left, and just caught him wrong-footed for the easy goal. Nice play by Brando. This guy is a serious player. So a low, tight pull here. Quick centering pass to number 19. That's McKnight. He's got an open shot deep. Kind of does the little John Hassel shoulder shimmy and gets it out to space. Big pressure on the mark. Lloyd's able to catch it. And immediately steps inside for the backhand break here. Number 17, Isaiah Massett-Kelly with the disc, resets to Lloyd. And a call on the play. Might have been a foul on the mark when Isaiah had it, so he's going to assess a 10-yard penalty, take the disc back and tap it in right near the 30-yard line. And wow, Mark Lloyd gets open right down the line for the goal. And he's come up lame. Looks like he may have tweaked a hammy or maybe a calf muscle. I'm not sure what happened there, but he's definitely walking gingerly after that goal. Got a big smile on his face, though, so maybe it's not so bad.
You know, he did a great job of remaining hyper aware during that foul call. I think number 7 there, Stephen Major, was just not quite as prepared for the disc to come back into play as Mark Lloyd was, which cost him that point.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's hard if you're a club player. You're used to your mark, counting the disc in, waiting to see if everybody's ready, and the AUDL comes right back in. I think saw Yearwood get beat deep because he wasn't sure the disc was in, and I think we saw the same thing there. Mark Lloyd just started sprinting, and There was no heads up for the Philadelphia defender. I think if I had to guess, it looked like Mark Lloyd might have just had a little cramp there at the end. I didn't see him turn an ankle or anything like that, but it is very humid and it's very warm. And I'm sure it's very difficult to stay hydrated, especially when you're playing the point load that he is.
Yeah.
And remember, you know, in Club Ultimate, you get about twice as much time between points, so it's easier to play back-to-back points. In AUDL, you only get 40 to 60 seconds, essentially, between points. And a quick shot to the end zone. Full layout, gets a hand on it, but he cannot pull it in. A nice-looking throw, just a little bit out of the reach of the receiver.
Just Gazelle giving it his all. But
Yeah.
He's not quite gazelle-y enough.
Not gazelle enough. He didn't earn his nickname, though. He didn't bound gracefully enough towards the disc. So Toronto looking to go up by 6 if they score this. And you got to think if they score this one, it's going to be pretty hard for Philadelphia to get back into the game. Yearwood with the disc. Flick down to Link. Link's looking away, not there. Gets it to Phil, and Phil's got a deep cutter. But just taking the high percentage shot, swings it around to Link. Yearwood's open deep. Let's see if they throw it. Nice adjustment by number 50, Ryan Kiefitz. Wow, and Phil, it looks like the defender got a piece of that as it went over his head. Nice play by Philadelphia. Risky pass from Phil Watanabe. Kind of an uncharacteristic decision. Brando's got the disc. Gets it around out to the backhand side. And now they're trapping backhand, and Brando goes up line. Let's see what the call was. There's a whistle on the play. So it looks like a foul on the mark. So instead of the complete pass for 10 yards, it's going to be a 10-yard penalty, and Brando will be on the dump instead of with the disc. So quick swing out to Brando. And there's Reeves getting it open side, swings it around the mark. And it looks like a backhand mark here. Brando moves it around. And a low huck towards the end zone. Nice shape. Really nothing the defender could do except just make a bid and pray. And Reeves moves it around. God, everybody's slipping on the turf right now. And I'm not sure, did the rush player get a piece of that? It looks like he might have.
A little bit of last-ditch effort that was just enough to save that point.
Yeah, Kiefitz essentially saved a goal, and a heck of a full extension catch by Caleb McKenzie there. Swings it to Yearwood. It's got McKenzie going away, throws it out to space. Reeves is laboring to catch up and will not be able to make it, and Caleb McKenzie doing it all on this point. Real nice point for McKenzie, and he is open for the goal. And the Rush go up 21-15, just under 8 minutes left. It's not looking good for the Philadelphia Phoenix.
You know, I think it's interesting to note that the first 8 minutes of the second quarter was when the Toronto Rush started to pull away, then the Phoenix came back a few points and then held that 4-point lead. This is, again, the second point where the Toronto Rush are kind of taking over, and you're absolutely right. At this point, I'm just not sure there's even enough time for the Philadelphia Phoenix to close that margin.
You can see Yearwood steps out, keeps it kind of inside out. If it turns over, then the wind will kind of pop it up. If you keep it flat to inside out like that, it just kind of drops in. So it's a pretty tough throw to keep the shape of, but Yearwood able to do it, and I can see Coach Phillips talking to him right now, perhaps about that exact thing. Yearwood's an interesting guy. He doesn't look like he's giving you max effort, but then he explodes, and suddenly you're beat. And also, he's so good with the disc. And the scouting report I heard was he's just so good downfield, very tough cover. And we've seen him mostly around the disc today. So Brando with the disc. The Philadelphia Phoenix need to get something going here on offense. They need a quick goal and try to get back in this game. Upline cut from number 25. And nice defense on the upline there. Swinging it back around in the inside-out break as they're trying to explore that break side. So far, pretty good defensive pressure from the Rush. And Philadelphia. Brando looking at the end zone. Settles for the under here. And a big diving catch. Wow, I'm not sure. I don't think Andy Kubinick saw the disc swing out to the sideline. He looked a little late to respond on this. And Philadelphia makes him pay. So let's see if we can get a look downfield here. Number 44, Kubinick, kind of was turned over his left shoulder and didn't see the cut setting up, didn't see the disc swing to the sideline. So puts a bid on it, but he's just a half step late there. Nice play by Philadelphia. So they needed that goal. Nice, great catch. Is that Dave Hampson, maybe?
I had a hard time reading the number on the jersey, too. I can tell you in just a second.
I think it might have been Dave Hampson with the headband there. We'll double check on that.
Yep, that was indeed Dave Hampson.
Okay, great. So Philadelphia, if they break here, they're right back in it. Over 7 minutes left here. Let's see what they can do against this pretty dialed-in Toronto Rush offense. So foul right away on the mark. Kind of a careless play by number 7, Stephen Major.
Just came in just a little too fast, couldn't stop himself from running into the Toronto Rush player.
Right, and of course in club that would never get called.
Yeah.
So that's the adjustment to playing in the AUDL. Wow, nice full extension bid there, but just a little bit out of his reach. Esser almost pulled a nice catch. And a nifty around break from Link.
There's also a good read by Lindquist on the catch. There it is. Didn't get intimidated by Matt Esser's early jump. Well, not particularly early, but oftentimes you can be psyched out a bit by defense making a big bid like that.
Yeah, you know, Link, watch him set this up again. This is the exact same throw he threw last time, just never even gets around, but just extends the right arm over the mark's shoulder and throws these little flip backhands. And I mean, you know, whatever works, he's able to basically get it out to the space he needs to get it to, and he's able to do it quick enough that the mark can't respond. Esser's trying to get to his feet and mark, and right when he gets the mark set, just look at that, quick, over the shoulder.
And knowing how open Mark Lloyd was, he knew the disc could afford to be kind of wobbly.
That's right. Yeah, Mark's got 2 steps on his guy, and Link. Link, you know, luckily when you're a few inches taller than your mark, if you can get your shoulder over his shoulder, you can kind of just do that little backhand over the shoulder.
Yeah, Lindquist is 6'1". Brandolph is 5'7".
Yeah, that's what you need. So Brando gets the disc. Looking to reset. Nice pressure from the rush. And Brando gets the disc down the line in power position with the deep threat. He throws. And Hampson wide open. Oh, Hampson with the fancy clap catch overdoes it, though. And the crowd is letting him hear it right now. Oh, my goodness. This crowd came alive. Let's see it. He is having a good time, takes his hands off, or takes his eyes off the disc and just turns that disc over. Wow, humbling day here for Philadelphia. That was about as open as you're going to get. The crowd is loving it right now, folks. I don't know if you can hear this. Wow, and a layout D on the under. Brando with the disc. And another gorgeous inside-out touch pass out to space for a goal. This guy's just got it on lockdown when we get in the red zone. You want Brando with the disc. That much is clear.
So Dave Hampson with the alligator catch earlier, which resulted in a drop.
Hampson is taking a ribbing right now on the sideline.
Yeah, he's 22 years old. I'm sure that's the last time he'll try something like that.
Wow, and this Canadian crowd, you got to give it to him. They're giving him a little bit of hand. Some of them are looking over at him and just letting him know. Actually, I take that back. They're all doing alligator clap catch motions at him, rubbing it in. So let's take a look at it again. I'm sure his friends will be sharing this on his Facebook wall for a few weeks. But luckily, his teammate gets the big D underneath here, and they score the goal anyway. I don't know if we can get a shot of the crowd here, but they are all clapping exactly the way he tried to clap catch. We're going to see if we can get a shot of it from Luke Johnson down on the sideline. There it is. You can see it. The Canadians are giving him a little lesson on how to catch. And a near foul there, double team. This looks like a foul to me. And was that a stall or a foul? Looks like a foul. So Philadelphia just a little too close on the mark here. They're initiating contact and giving away these little 10-yarders. And Reyna gets the disc, swings it around to Danzig. And there's openings on either sideline, so now they've got a free pass up the line if they want it. Mark Lloyd thinks better of it, however. Wow, and there's kind of a careless pass from Lloyd, but handled easily. And a foul on the mark. So Isaiah Mazzucchelli will get it right in the center of the field on the goal line. And a quick vertical stack. Oh, geez, just a miscommunication. Open side cut for the goal. So Philadelphia just coming apart right now. Never really got set on defense, and you know, you gotta dial it in. You know, like they had about what 5-6 seconds while he was walking it up to the goal line. To not know which side is the open side and which side is the break side is pretty unforgivable. If you're a coach, you got to be kind of unhappy with the effort at this point for Philadelphia.
5 minutes left in this quarter, and there is still a 6-point lead, 23-17.
Sorry, yeah, there's the foul on the mark. And here the disc comes in, and it looks like some guys are guarding the forehand side, some guys are guarding the backhand side, and too little too late for Philadelphia at this point. So 6-point lead, 5 minutes left. Let's see if the Phoenix have one more push here. They're going to need to get hot in a hurry. 5 minutes to go. And centering pass to Brando. Nearly turned over. And Sam Morgan with the disc looking downfield. Very difficult reset, and it is a turnover. Nice pressure from Phil Watanabe, just denying the dump. And he's going to not catch the goal. Phil is vehemently contesting that it was up, but the ref calls it down. And Philadelphia could not be happier to have the disc back. And here's a backhand around to Brando, looking deep. And the crowd calling for a deep shot to Hampson, the victim of the infamous clap, catch, drop. They are ruthless. Deep shot is there. And there's that same no float down the line flick. A pretty nice throw, but a little too hot to handle for number 35.
I think that was number 36, Mike Coughlin.
Correct, number 36. My apologies. So just under 4 minutes to go. Toronto's going to have the disc. Looks like they're going to call a timeout just to make sure on this one. So just one final push. If Toronto scores this, I think it's definitely going to be game over. And we're going to take a look at the
so we're going to we're going to take a look at the contested down disc.
Yeah, Phil Watanabe in the end zone said it was up. The referee immediately called it down. Let's see if we can get a look at if that front edge of the disc was indeed, or excuse me, the back edge of the disc had grazed the turf or not. Pretty tough to tell from the initial angle. So here you can see Phil just denying the dump, forcing a really difficult pass out to space. And then here's the throw. So let's see. I'm sorry, he bounces it once. Yearwood throws kind of a low, dragging throw. And wow, that is so close. Looks like it might have been down, but pretty hard to tell. Let's take a look here. It's about as close as it gets.
Yeah.
If we were playing on real grass, definitely would have been down. So back to live action here. I think there was some call on the field. This is exactly the kind of talking you would see in a club tournament. And pressure on the under, handled by Isaiah Masekeli. Reyna gets it downfield, and they are off to the races. Shot to the end zone. Wow, and all three Toronto Rush players win the sprint to the end zone. Those track workouts are paying off, and the Rush are running. Nice shot here. I didn't see who threw that, Migos. Did you see?
I don't want to give undue credit, but I think it might have been Isaiah Masekeli.
I think he was the throw before. Yeah, let's see if we can get a look at it.
Maybe we can see it again.
Yeah, let's see. This was a real nice throw, real high percentage. So there's the throw. And you can see just the right amount of float here. It's, you know, the wind is kicking to his right.
That was Cam Harris who threw that throw.
That was Cam Harris. Okay, real nice play by Cam Harris. So great huck and 7-point game. This is all but over, Miggles. Let's see what the Phoenix have here. Wow. And the crowd heckling Hampson mercilessly. I don't even think he's on the field, Miggles. Deep shot.
No, he's not.
Well played. Man, that was an easy-looking catch from Esser. He is playing a great game. Resets it back to the middle of the field. Reeves is open, swinging it around. And Reeves in the end zone drops it. So it's going around right now. It looks like Philadelphia's just got a little bit of the dropsies. Looking upfield, Yearwood gets the disc in power position. Esser forcing number 21 underneath. Big layout by Esser. He is so athletic. And the crowd heckling continues. He's only 22 years old, folks. They're going to give him some medicine. So number 74's got the disc. That is Ricky Seto.
Calling for the foul and gets it.
Yep. 10-yard penalty, checks it back in. Yearwood is out in space for the reset. And look at this, another dish from Link to the end zone. Seems like Link, if you're marking him forehand near the end zone, you're in trouble. He can throw that little backhand over your shoulder, or he can throw that little dish lefty up the line. Either way, pretty hard to deal with on D.
So now an 8-point lead. Toronto Rush 25, Philadelphia Phoenix 17 with 2.5 minutes left in this game.
So the Rush looking to go 8-0, move to 8-0 on the season. Before this game, they were plus 63, I want to say. Just, they're really having their way, winning these games easily. And unfortunately for Philly, this is looking like another easy win. The fourth quarter rolled around. The clock struck 12 midnight, and these guys turned into, how does the myth go?
They turned into pumpkins.
I don't know. In any event, they're very good. So the crowd having a good time, loving to watch Toronto roll through another game, and looks like they're probably going to be the 1 seed out of the Eastern Division. So Danzig on the pull, and they do not have Brando in on offense. I think it's the first time I've seen a pull that was not centered to Brando, so I think it's kind of official. They're mailing the rest of this game in, giving their superstar some rest. And the Toronto Rush getting set to tap it in here. Danzig to pick up. Another deep cut there from Esser. He's always open deep. He's just so good at setting up his cuts. The throw was just a little too blady. And a big backhand, low and tight. Esser is in the area, but it's just a perfect throw. And, Armitage able to adjust and make that catch. Nearly D'd. Nice pursuit there by Chen, I want to say. You can see Chen never quits on this play, running full speed, head down. And on this little dish, you can see how close he gets to eating this up on D. Chen sees it, full extension, gets his hand right there, and Armitage just beats him by a half second.
Quick adjustment on the part of Stephen Armitage. That was not at all the direction his sprint was taking him.
What a throw. Just drives it, keeps it inside out so it doesn't float. Really, really small margin of error on that backhand, but he drops it in perfect. So if you're the Rush, it definitely begs the question, Toronto Rush, they're having such an easy time winning in the Eastern Division. It just adds to the mystique of how good are these guys. I mean, they're rolling. They're going to be, maybe point diff of over 70 points after this game. And it just makes you want to see what happens in the playoffs even more, see how they match up against, Windy City or maybe the Radicals in the postseason. So a nice side stack to start from Philadelphia. Deep shot is there. Wow, nice adjustment by number 81.
Matt Stavinga.
Stavinga, one of the two pairs of brothers on Philadelphia. Unfortunately, terced that flick. What's the other brother pair?
John Stavinga. Oh, excuse me, the Essers.
The Essers. There's two Essers, two Stavingas. Nice layout by Jeff Powell. Just another highlight reel catch from him. And Toronto looking to move it up the backhand side here. And, just past the outstretched arm to Philadelphia defender. And that's got to be Hassel. Nobody runs like the Hassels. And that, for those of you who are Canadian Ultimate fans, John Hassel, his older brother, is one of the best players ever to play Canadian Ultimate. This is his younger brother,
Dan Hassel.
Dan Hassel. Just as stylish, maybe not on the same level as a player. Here we can see just that awesome full extension catch by Jeff Powell. What an incredible athlete. And a valiant effort there by Philadelphia, just not quite in the neighborhood. So minute 10 left to go in the fourth, and the Philadelphia Phoenix did not get the result they wanted here tonight, Migos. Looks like they're going to go down pretty big to the Toronto Rush in front of this home crowd here in Toronto. The crowd is not thinning out, though. These fans are here to stay. I think a lot of them are hoping to meet some of the players after the game. And that's one of the great features of the AUDL home games is the access to the players. A lot of these guys are more than willing to stand around and chat with fans. Nice read by Philadelphia, and they're going to get an easy goal on the near side here. It's great. It's great, especially for the young kids, to be able to ask questions and meet some of these guys, get a disc signed, have a conversation with Yearwood or Watanabe or Brando, some of these guys that are just superstars in the AUDL. But it's not like other sports where these guys, working with agents and, having people plan out their outfits for the post-game interviews the way we're seeing in the NBA playoffs right now. Not a lot of backpacks and horn-rimmed glasses. Just regular guys who are, pro athletes, but still very approachable and very much into spreading the game, teaching the game, carrying the message to being ambassadors. Guys like Phil Watanabe, who just awesome guys who anybody should introduce their kids to.
Yeah, with as much work as both the Toronto Rush and the Philadelphia Phoenix are doing, running clinics, coaching high school teams, it's really impressive. And as you said, even though Ultimate is trending professionally, they're still doing their part to build the community.
Yeah, and there was some news this week. The WFDF, the World Flying Disc Federation, I want to make sure I say this correctly. I think they were recognized officially by the International Olympic Committee, which does not mean Ultimate is an Olympic sport yet. However, it's certainly a step in the right direction. Ultimate is part of the Goodwill Games. I think, is it the World Games or the Goodwill Games? In any event, they've never been in the Olympics, but looking to move that way. And look at this throw. Wow, what a shot. I believe that was number...
Lindquist.
Oh, it was Lindquist, okay. That was an incredible throw. He throws it to the inside here, lets the wind kind of push it to the left. If the wind moves this a little bit more, it's going to come down a blade, but he's just got great touch and keeps it out in front of the defender.
And the number 1 Isaiah in the AUDL.
Easily the best Isaiah I've ever seen in the Eastern Division of the AUDL. Is that saying much? I'm not sure.
I think that says a lot, Chuck.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Quick release, out to space, sits up, clap catch. And that's how you clap catch, folks. Get your hands out, nice and easy, watch it all the way in. We're just kidding. Hampson, I think, is sitting down, licking his wounds a little bit. The crowd was a little tough on him. But he'll get over it, I'm sure. He's a very talented young athlete. So 30 seconds left, 10-point lead for the Rush. And let's get a look at one last look here at Philadelphia Phoenix O-line. So 2 men on the mark. Looks like they're running some kind of a zone here. It's not exactly a cup, it's more of a wall, but now it's settling into a cup. Get it through the middle here. Philadelphia doing the right thing, getting it through the cup and then fast breaking it so that the cup can't set here. Reeves with the disc, looking around and throws it. And last second throw to the end zone is D by Yearwood. And that'll be all she wrote. Toronto Rush 28, Philadelphia Phoenix 18. And Adrian Yearwood makes sure on that last play. And look at the crowd, they are loving it.
So the Toronto Rush walk away with a completely unblemished season so far, and I think that this is it. I think they're going to have a perfect season. This was the one and only game that really could have caused an upset, and in this last quarter they pulled away. That's it. They're perfect.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be the 1 seed out of the East. And in the Midwestern division, they're still going to be fighting it out to see who's the #1 top dog out of the Midwest. So clearly, the more competitive division is the Midwestern division. But it's hard to argue with the results that Toronto's had this year. They're making it look easy. They're beating any team, anytime, anywhere. So hats off to the Toronto Rush.
Yeah, absolutely. Earlier, before the game, you asked me how the Toronto Rush will match up against some of the top teams in the Midwestern division, and watching them play a team that contested their game just a little bit more, I have to say it's going to be even tighter than I thought before. So they're just very good at seizing every single opportunity that could potentially go their way, which clearly a 10-point lead against the second team in their division shows that.
Yeah, big second half from Jeff Powell. I thought Lindqvist really was stand out in the second half, and Mark Lloyd all game long was just making the right kind of plays. On the Philadelphia Phoenix, Brando was a lot of fun to watch. Very confident with the dish, breaking the mark, taking the away shots, and certainly Esser was incredible. Matt Esser, number 10, going away. Really played the high ball well, and this is a pretty neat tribute. Both teams, Philadelphia and Toronto, are applauding the crowd here at Varsity Stadium in downtown Toronto, Ontario. And a little bit of the alligator clap catch reference coming back. But great spirit. You know, a lot of people say as we move into the professional ultimate arena, spirit of the game suffers, and I haven't really seen that myself. I think the spirit of the game is still very much alive, and these players and fans appreciate it.
I would absolutely have to agree, Chuck. Now, on behalf of our Fulcrum Media Group crew, Kelly Johnson, Roberto Flores, Luke Johnson, Joshua Havens, Kyle Lowry, Chris Yugovich, I'm Meagles.
And I'm Chuck Town.
And we're going to go into some of the recap highlights from this game. There sure were a lot of them. So we very much appreciate you joining us today. We hope you tune in to the other game available this weekend to you, the New York Empire versus the DC Breeze. Again, that's available online.
All right, you can see some of our highlights here. This is the full game recap. Here's Yearwood. Deep to Phil Watanabe. Look at the old man get the disc. Nice play, sir. And then absolutely no worries whatsoever for Phil. He throws the dish for the goal. It's just another day in the life. And here's another deep shot. Look at the wind changing the shape of that disc. Nice read by Brando. And here we're going to look at this lefty backhand. You know, the lefty backhand, very big on the West Coast, not quite as used on the Midwest and East Coast, but it's such an effective throw against the forehand mark. You can see why when Brando gets pushed to the forehand side, pretty much pick your poison, he's going to score a goal. Here's a deep shot. And the full extension nearly caught, just missed by Philadelphia. So here's a high-risk throw over the stack, which is D'd by Brando. And here we get a look at Yearwood. Keeps the right shape on this throw, keeps it inside out so that it drops in for his receiver. Real nice touch for the most part from Yearwood. I think he probably had a couple throws in the first half he wished he could have had back. But on the whole, very, very steady set of hands out there for Toronto. And there's Hampson doing the right thing, going down and getting the disc. This is before the crowd. Took no mercy on him. And here's Link. Link knows that even if Esser gets a hand on the disc, he's not going to be able to get a clean D, so he just hangs back and catches the table scraps and throws that nifty backhand around break for the goal. And here's Brando driving the disc. This is the moment. Hampson, I'm sure, wishes he could forget. Of course, it didn't really matter because here's the D and the goal in the next possession. But that moment will live on in infamy in Toronto lore. And right now, some of the Philly guys are taking a cool-down jog on the track. We're here at Varsity Stadium in Toronto. This is a track stadium with a full track. They got the long jump pit, got the pole vault.
Hampson has taken off his jersey.
Hampson does not wish to be identified by number anymore, I'm sure. Took off his headband as well. Poor guy. So here's Phil saying it was up. He might have been right, but the referee saw it down. It looked like it probably was down. The wind dropped it pretty quickly there. Here's that nice deep huck. You can see all 3 Toronto Rush players get position on that. I think Toronto probably just wanted it more in this game, Eagles. It did seem like when it was a 50-50 ball, especially in the 4th quarter, they came out ahead. Nice bid there by Esser. And here's this incredible backhand over the defender, out to space, perfectly placed. I'm still in awe of that backhand. That is very difficult to throw. So we will show you the rest of these highlights, and then we will be off until next week. Wow, Jeff Powell. What a second half Jeff Powell had. One of the rising stars in Toronto. Watch this bid. Full extension, comes down on that left shoulder. Sometimes that doesn't feel too good. And that's kind of the story right there. Philadelphia, tons of effort, but just a little bit short of the mark in this game. They lose handily. Once the 4th quarter started, you could see that, you know, the Rush were kind of establishing themselves and cementing their position as the #1 team out of the East. There's Link throwing to space. And here's our last play of the game. So I believe that's all she wrote, folks. I'm Chuck Town.
And I'm Meagles, and we want to thank you so much again for joining us this evening.
Good night.